Good evening, everyone. Let us see who is available, who's got their cameras on. At least I saw a glimpse of you for 2 seconds. Danny Kadar, are you there?
I'm always here, Dina. I go nowhere. I literally have my clothes over here just in case I need to pop up over the webinar. So in my bed, in my mattress, and some food and supplies.
Good. That's the way we like it. We like to keep our staff complement and support base very close to us.
100%. 100%. Benji's here.
Hello, Benj.
Hello.
Talking about our support base and our fellow board members who's always there.
How are you, Dina?
Very, very good. And are you excited, Benj? I mean, also you're becoming a proper regular feater on all the webinars.
Dina, you know, the last time you and I hosted one was when Andre de Ruyter was telling us about power. And I think I'd rather hear I'd rather hear from Caron and all the geniuses that we've got on this panel.
Yeah, I think it was on that webinar where he told us that there'd be less power outs.
I'm not sure.
I shot at the goalpost to 5 years. Went from 5 days to 5 years. More or less that metric should be fine.
Anyway, that just gives us more chance to provide optimism and hope, and it makes it more of our responsibility. So that's all that does.
Absolutely. And with that, Caron, how are you this evening? We're glad you've also got power. I know everyone was a bit panicked. They weren't going to have power.
Very panicked. I'm good, and you?
Good. No, so we're looking good tonight. We are looking good tonight.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi was down the whole afternoon, so I was a bit panicky.
Okay, well, it looks like you're back up and running, and it's so nice to have you back on our show. Have you been cooking up a storm ever since? Your previous?
Yeah, always. I have.
Are you always cooking? Is that it? You're in the kitchen, family just expect food.
Yep, always. Thank God. I've got lots of grandchildren and children that come, and I'm always cooking for them.
That's amazing. So are you giving them lessons? Are you like always like giving them some tips and tricks?
Yeah, but my daughters are pretty good in the kitchen. They really
were
are.
Well trained, I'm sure.
Yeah, they were.
How many kids have you got?
I've got 3 kids and 5 grandchildren. So
that can definitely keep you busy, huh?
Yes, very busy. But it's fun and I love it.
Fantastic. And we also have Elise Baron Jankelovitz. We had a whole we had a conversation earlier. Benj, I don't know if you know Elise. Elise is actually a dietitian. I think we've spelled your name wrong, Elisa. Sorry.
No
I
problem.
don't know if we can correct that, but Elisa can be, you can be whoever you want to be tonight, actually.
Thanks, Dean.
We offer the opportunities. We needed to call in the experts, Benj. We needed to say, like, give us help with Pesach. Tell us about food. Tell us about what we should be eating, because we all panic. Like the second we hear Pesach, we like panic. We think we are going to starve. We think we're never going to eat again. So we needed a little bit of a calming influence this evening. So that's awesome to have Elise with us. And also last time you were on our webinar was a 9/11 webinar.
It was, it was last year.
Sure, that's crazy. I think there was like a webinar for 40 something. This is like 83.
Crazy.
Insane.
It's insane that you're sitting at 83. Bizarre.
Yeah, Benji and I agree with you completely. Hi, Benji hasn't slept.
No, we thought we were going to have 3. We thought we were going to have one medical one Pesach one, and then one like to help with mental wellness. And 83 later, our fearless chairman, Howard Sackstein, taking such a big load. It's been a remarkable experience, you know.
Exactly. I don't think we knew what we were in for. I still don't think we do. So we just carry on. We just carry on. And we've got Sharon joining us. How are you tonight? So lovely to have you in the kitchen again.
Thank you. Nice to be with you again.
Great. And I see obviously that's your comfortable space, eh? That's where you spend a lot of your time.
I spend a lot of time here, but I don't have such a full house. So at the moment, it's only 3 of us. So I'm not cooking as much as I used to cook. So I'm happy to be doing this anyway. How are you, Dina? Running around as usual?
You know, it's how one keeps oneself relatively sane. So, and as we say, there's never a dull moment again at the Jewish Report. There's always
chilling and your work and children and yes.
Exactly. Oh, and yesterday.
12 o'clock at night, yeah.
Yeah, so yes, Sharon was messaging me last night at 12 o'clock, and I feel bad like when I message people at 12 or late at night because I know I'm up, but I don't know about anyone else.
Can you just be louder, or does it sound okay?
Sounds okay. Think I'll talk a bit more. Let's hear you.
So I'm going to be doing some grilled fruit with a sorbet tonight. And I want to use as little sugar as possible. Make it delicious and fresh. Things cheap, economical, very expensive.
Fantastic. And I wanted also to check in with Delores if she can hear us. Can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, perfect. Oh, you're clearly marked up.
Thanks.
Okay, and you look like you're sure you've got a lot of ingredients waiting for us.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
Okay, and it looks like a very long.
There's not. People think it's so restricting, but it's really not. I mean, all the fresh ingredients you can use. It's all good.
Okay, and I know are you actually catering this Pesach?
Till Sunday, actually. In fact, now until Monday. Just my regular stuff, and then we're going to change over and start and just pound it for 4 days to get all the orders out by Friday.
Okay, so you think in 4 days you're going to be able to feed the entire community?
Do it every year, and every year I have a freak out on like the 3 days before, and I sit on the floor and I cry, and my staff will say, "But Dee, you know, we do this every year, and it all comes together, and it's okay." So we breathe. And we focus and we do it. Yeah.
You know what Danny is actually doing? Danny is showing that is the box that we had for the Jewish Awards. Delores is he's really trying to make you cry. He's actually taking you back to the Jewish Achiever Awards where you had to feed hundreds of people in a few hours and get the drivers to deliver hot food, plated, looking magnificent, tasting delicious and fresh and warm and all at the same time. So he's actually just watching you. So I apologize.
PTSD.
Enjoyed every minute of it. I loved the build up. I loved everything. So yeah, we had some stressful moments, but it was amazing.
Listen, we had rave reviews. People, even though they were home, they were loving the food and truly enjoying the experience and our unique box.
A box. Everything's in a box now. We do corporates in a box, engagements in a box, brisses in a box. Everything's in a box. So boxes are the way.
You know, you spend your whole life trying to get out of a box, and now we all get put back in the box.
But Dina, I think I'm going to lead you into the very famous chef that's joined us that we heard so much about his Charoset.
Charoset and his Chrain, yes, indeed.
His Chrain, right? His Chrain.
I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Okay, so we have to unmute you though, Dad. So guys, yeah, this is a little nepotism nepotism's a game the whole family can play.
I want to tell you, we demanded it. Dina was a bit more circumspect, but once we heard the expertise and we demanded it. So Dina was, we're very excited to hear about the expertise.
Can you hear me at all?
So yeah, I've had to spend years of my life crying in the kitchen while my father makes Chrain. So we thought it was only apt that for a special Pesach edition that he comes and he shares his expertise with us on his Chrain. So Dad, how are you this evening?
I'm fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly.
That's fantastic. I didn't think so because I don't see the yellow thing around my name, so I didn't think I was through. Right. The more important thing is for Pesach is wine.
True. So I don't know how many people remember or know, but you have made how many thousands of bottles of kosher Pesach wine?
300,000 bottles of wine.
And this was over years and years of
over 30 years.
For making it for your Shiva college. As I think a 9-year-old child, we had to sit there and bottle wine at like 12 o'clock at night so the bees wouldn't come.
100%.
So tell everyone how you used to make the wine. Give us the process of how you make Pesach.
Okay, first of all, there are two kinds of grapes that I would use. I use either Keturba or I use Alphonse Laval. Alphonse Laval, we used to use 1 kilo of sugar to 3 kilos of Alphonse Laval.
It wasn't the diet version, sorry.
Sorry? No, it wasn't the diet version, but that was how you got the decent wine out of it. In fact, I've got wine here about 20 odd years old with still be able to drink it, and it's more like a port than a wine. Keturba was a more difficult thing. It was a smaller grape. It tasted completely different, and you had to add extra sugar to it. But it was a long process. You could only get the Keturba from Portuguese people who stayed in their homes, and that was their part of their garage. They used to build vines around their garage. And that's how we managed to get our Keturba. It was very difficult. I used to send the boys cutting, and it took long time to get it because they're so small that you needed a fortune to make 1 kilo. And 1 kilo would normally give you 1 bottle of wine in Alphonse. And then sometimes you also had to mix it for 3 days before you let it sit for 6 weeks. It's a long process.
Exactly.
And then the process of bottling, which you know very well. I mean, all of you joined in. But eventually we got to a system where it moved much quicker. We were doing like 60 bottles a minute. When we had 5 drums going at the same time, we were doing 60 bottles a minute. Remember, to do 10,000 bottles for Pesach is a lot of bottles.
No, absolutely. And that's when I think your friends stopped phoning you back.
I lost a lot of friends over the time. We had 2 people one day came in and said, Ronnie, how much money do you make out of this? I said, we make a few bob here and there. We make a few bob for the yeshiva. He says, well, I'm a diamond dealer. Let me find another diamond dealer. He found another diamond dealer. He says, you give Ronnie 1 diamond, I'll give him 1 diamond. It never happened.
And we carried on making wine for 30 years.
We carried on making the wine, yeah.
But yeah, it used to sit on every single Pesach table, so it definitely served its purpose. But now tell us, what is your secret? We're going to see a video that you've done of the Chrain, but what is the secret? Like, obviously, you like it, the hotter, the better.
Now, it also depends on the shorish, on the root. You've got to get a decent root to get it going. And it's, first of all, you've got to clean it. But you clean it, it comes brownish. If I would have got them from Israel, they come clean, everything ready. Stick it into a processor, a food processor. Then you put it into a mincer because the food processor is not strong enough to do it. And then you mince it. Much easier that way. And then you add to it. And that becomes Chrain. I mean, that becomes your Pesach Chrain for the table. Very important.
Absolutely. Benji, you're a Chrain eater, aren't you?
Look, I'm like absolutely riveted. I must tell you that unfortunately I don't have any of these skills, and maybe I'm going to have to make a time with your dad to get some of these. I feel
Ronnie's the name.
Completely inadequate. I think I bought the Coke Light for the last Pesach Seder, so I've got lots of learning to do, and as I say, I feel completely inadequate.
Well, if you could get some Coke Light, I'd like some things.
Yeah, exactly. That was when they were kosher for Pesach.
Yeah, they don't make it. We used to get Coca-Cola and Diet Cola. Now we get nothing.
Ronnie, that's another webinar. That's not for now.
That's a webinar on its own. Exactly, okay. But it has just gone 7:30. So we want to welcome everyone officially to the 83rd, yes, the 83rd webinar of the South African Jewish Report. Can you believe it has been 12 months of our webinars, of our lockdown. It's like our anniversary almost. And during that time, we have managed to have a few amazing cooking shows. And we're so excited to have some of our brilliant cooks back with us, and people who've actually been on our shows already before, like Elise. So we've got Delores, we've got Caron, we've got Sharon, and we're later going to have Nida. She's currently in Parliament in Lithuania, you know, as one is. So she'll be joining us shortly. And just a reminder that obviously the Jewish Report is available. The new editions always come out on a Thursday. So please go and grab your copy. Danny's going to put up a copy just to show you. We're looking at Mocheng, the ruling, a moment of reckoning. So very interesting story if you are following it. And definitely if you cannot, go and actually get your copy at an exclusive books, at your Pick and Pay, at all of those outlets, then please do go onto our website, sajr.co.za, and you are able to download the edition. In addition, please tell us where you are watching from. Please tell us what you are, also maybe your favorite dishes, some of the things that you're expecting, things that you're worried about for Pesach. So please do give us a shout. If you've got any questions, please put them in the Q&A section, because we know that always with the cooking and all of that, there are always a million questions, because when we've got the doyens of cooking on our wizards in the kitchen, people always automatically want to know all the little tricks and tips, and they are wonderfully giving in terms of what they give us. So please do share that all in the Q&A, and we will come and try and answer as many questions as possible. And as usual, Danny Kadar, please put on your camera and give us a wave, because you are the man who literally always is just there behind the scenes. You are our Batman, helping us make sure the technical runs perfectly, and always really just there for us. So thanks so much. Just on the chat, we would like to welcome, let's see, we've got Sumela phoning from Cape Town, we've got Paradise Chana in Israel, Yael, we've got London, Carol Marks Felder in Sea Point, Cape Town, we've got hello from Leeds in the UK. I love Eingemacht. My father loves imbars. Okay, so we really have got an international audience here. We've got hi from Potomac, Maryland. I've never even heard of Potomac, Maryland. So we are only too happy to have you. So thank you all for being with us this evening. And without further ado, Ben, you know, you are Dinkum, one of the proper grafters on the Jewish Report, and we appreciate it more than you know. But we know that you've got more work to do, because we have got a Pesach webinar coming up on Sunday night. So tell us about it.
You know, so Dina, that's rich coming from you about proper workers. But, you know, we've established a town hall here, as I said the other night, and we've had multiple different events. And we were thinking, what can we do on Pesach? You've got this incredible panel here to do the one side. And so we decided to do a Pesach Matzah board. And that is trying to get people, or we've got people from around the world to come and celebrate Pesach with us. We've got Rabbi Sackstein, the world famous human rights rabbi. We've got Rabbi Rosen, who was a chief rabbi of Ireland. We've got our own brilliant, remarkable talent in Rabbi Goldman and Rabbi Chasdan. We've got Rabbi Feldman. We've got Esti Stern, the unique talent from South Africa. We've got Rabbi Ryan Goldstein, who's going to bring some of his own uniqueness. We've got, not only do we have great insights into Pesach, but we've also got lots of singing. We've got the amazing Nathaniel Hurstig and Azi Schwartz. But we need you, and we need our viewers. And the reason why we do it is just to create some type of unity. And as we were saying earlier, we see our mission and our vision so clearly, just to provide unity and optimism and hope, and all being together feels so unifying in this very, very special but complicated time that we're living. So yeah, Dina, we're super excited. Lots of work has gone into getting all the different parts together. We really hope it comes together on Sunday night, and it wouldn't be the same with all our viewers. And we're looking really excited about. We're feeling really excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, we are literally going seriously global with this Matzo ball. So Thank you for all the work that we put in. But I think it's going to be an amazing, entertaining evening. And I think it's going to be very insightful and very enlightening. And it's really going to be incredible. So thank you for all of that. And I think it's going to be a good one. So definitely, guys, register. Danny will put up the link after this as well. And we'll be sending it out, obviously, through our WhatsApp groups. If you haven't joined on our WhatsApp group, I'm always welcome to you. Go onto our website and get involved so you don't miss out. So,
and well done, Danny Kadoff, for his work in helping, and obviously to Howie, who just does a remarkable job. And Dina, just enjoy tonight. You've assembled the most amazing panel, and I can't wait to watch it. Just enjoy.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ben. Thank you.
Nice to see you.
All right, and guys, with that, just on something also new that we are running, it has been 12 months, it has been 83 webinars, 50 editions of the actual newspaper. And in that time, we have managed to tell so many unbelievable stories. We've managed to come literally hear things that we've never heard about and share your stories. And what the Jewish Report intends to do is carry on sharing these stories and carry on being involved in the community and trying to bring the community together and trying to see what it is that we can do to assist. So in that time, and for the next few weeks until the Omer is actually over, so from the second night of Pesach, obviously you count the Omer until Shavuot, we are going to be running a campaign for you to help you tell those stories and continue. So Danny, please run a little trailer that we are going to be running through, just a little teaser to show what we'll be doing in the next few weeks. Thank you, Danny. So as I say, that's just a little teaser of what's coming up for the Jerry Maguire Help Us, Help You. So you'll be seeing a bit of that coming up in our next few webinars. And now, as our official panel begins, we'd like to welcome Karen again, Elise Barron, Ronnie Kaplan, Delores Fouche, Sharon Glass, and soon Nida, who will be joining us as well for our official panel and our official Pesach cooking. So we are going to actually begin with our Chrain demonstration, which Ronnie did with Patsy from Feigels. Unfortunately, she couldn't be with us tonight, but don't worry, she will be on the video. So I'm going to just ask all of the panelists to turn off their cameras, and we will start the show and we will get going. And we're looking forward to an unbelievable culinary evening. So thank you all so much. And Danny, will you actually start with our Chrain video, please?
Hi everyone, I'm Patsy from Feigels. This is my very good friend Ronnie Kaplan, who's always assisted me over Pesach all the years that we've been in the business. And I am asking him to show you how he makes his Chrain, which is very much part of our Pesach menu. Over to you, Ron.
Hi, good evening. We will start with, this is a piece of Chrain. We've got over here. You have to clean it and then mince it. Here is the clean piece, done already. And from here we go and we mince it. Now, you have to put it into a mincer, but before you put it into a mincer, you must try and shred it as much as possible, because the machine or the mincers are not very, very strong these days. They don't make them like they used to make them. And we make the Chrain, and here is Chrain minced already. You must put them, when you do the Chrain, you've got to make it, you've got to mince it, as I said, and then you add liquid to it. You add vinegar, you add a teaspoon of salt, you add a bit of water, and that's your Chrain. But should you want your Chrain to be no more white, you
Sorry, I think that we lost a bit of the end of that video, but what it was talking about was actually adding the beetroot to your Chrain. And also, again, some people prefer it white, some people prefer it red, but we will also be sending out these recipes. We'll be sending out a link that will be in the chat to all of the recipes that you'll be seeing tonight. So you will be able to make your own Chrain. Again, as mentioned, you do need a mincer. Someone had written in the chat that their grandmother had used goggles, which really helped with that burn of the eyes, which I know often I use actually to just chop onions. So hopefully you'll be seeing that soon, but we will be sending out the recipe. And then next we will be bringing up Elise Barron. So let me explain. So Elise Barron-Janks is a dietitian and is in private practice, and often is asked to start helping when one starts reaching this time. So Elise, tell us, please explain to me, what is the chaos and the stress and the panic that sets in with Jews when it comes down to Pesach?
I think, Dean, it's totally in our genetics. It's like part of our DNA. It's like scripted to be like this. But it's as we were laughing earlier, and I think it's the fear that there's no convenience foods and that you've got to be prepared and you've got to be organized, and those shelves at home and the pantry and the fridge has to be well stocked up. And like we were giggling earlier, I always tell my clients that it starts with the way you're going to eat over Pesach is what you put in your trolley. So me, like everybody else, walk up and down that Norwood Pick and Pay, Pesach Dika'al, and putting things in our trolley that we generally, truly don't even eat in a year. And you get to the till and you're looking at this trolley, and out I'm taking 10 packets of chips for 1 week, and you've put in 5 slabs of chocolates, and in goes 2 boxes of coconut macaroons, and it's insane. And the point is to actually shop, putting it, and try your fridges, and that's the best way to start off with your Pesach shop.
So when we are Pesach shopping, right? So I think the survival attitude comes in, like survival of the fittest. Like you actually feel like you need, Howard Feldman's often talked about it. You're ready, like as those doors open, people have trained, they've got their sneakers on, they've got their trolleys ready to go, and they're ready to hit those aisles because it's competitive. And you don't want to lose out on those chips. Even if you don't eat those chips, you don't want to lose out on that 70 Rand slab of chocolate. You don't want to lose out on those macaroons that you don't even eat coconut. So how do we psychologically, how do we actually plan to do that shop? Because it's actually overwhelming when you see everyone like in panic mode. Like, how do you actually psychologically prepare for that from a food point of view?
So firstly, look at your week-to-week menu. So Pesach actually shouldn't be any different to what we eat on a weekly basis. So the only thing that's different really is that there's Matzo, which we can equate to, similar to a slice of bread. And, bring that in as a breakfast, have your slice of matzah in the morning. You can add avo, you can put some cheese with it, you can put eggs with it, make matzah as part of your breakfast meal, and then try actually not to have matzah later on in the day or any other time in the day. Your lunches and dinners, I implore you to all try and make half your plate of food, both at lunch and dinner, made up of vegetables. So, start getting some great ideas, which I'm sure we might get later in terms of salads and vegetable preparation, and then add a protein in, which perhaps some meat or fish or chicken or eggs or cheese. And the one thing we're always very fearful of is to avoid carbohydrates. But what I do find over Pesach is when you do include a baked potato or a sweet potato or some quinoa, for example, it creates a more filling meal. And when we eat proper meals, we feel more satisfied. So it's not this constant looking for snacking and grabbing that macaroon and opening up the slab of chocolate. So if we stick to 3 proper meals a day that are complete and that are satisfied, you find your in-between snacks are not so hectic.
Okay, so you think it actually literally is like we just like psych ourselves up and we actually just get hysterical about like like the Jew fest and the running around, and we actually just actually psychologically say, okay, we're going to eat normal meals, we're going to do our balance of our carbs, our proteins, our fats, our veg, our fruit, and for normal and like for snacking. So obviously you mentioned now that with your matzo, so you're actually putting in like a protein, so you're putting in or a good fat,
Absolutely,
the avos, the cheese. Okay, so that's fine, and it's fine to have that in the morning.
Totally. You know, your matzo, the problem with matzo is that it's high in calories if we equate a slice of matzo to a slice of bread. The problem is it has no fiber and it doesn't fill us. So we land up then putting butter and salt on, and you land up having 5 pieces of matzo before you've left the breakfast table. So if we actually bring in that protein, we're going to create more satiety and, you know, sustainability for the rest of the day.
Okay, so maybe we shouldn't even go to the hyper. That's what you're saying. We're saying maybe just order Woolies online and go to the veggie shop.
And get 4 boxes of matzo, and do not buy another box of matzo over and above that.
Because I know I've still got matzo from last year, a lot of matzo. In fact, I think someone mentioned that when the Angel Network was collecting foods and all the cans, and they were distributing food in Orange Farm and all those places, they said there was a lot of matzo apparently in those goodie boxes. So okay.
So ahead, you know, create a list, create a menu, write down what your ingredients are, and shop to your shopping list. Don't get distracted by the 200 Rand box of cereal and exactly what you said, the 70 Rand slab of chocolate. Don't get distracted by that. Buy what you need, and you can always come back to get something else, but keep it limited.
Okay, and in terms of like a snack in the day, so you're sitting there, that's why you always naturally go into the matzo mode. What would you suggest as a snack in the middle of the day?
So fruit, nuts, that always works well. There's some lovely fruits or recipes that you can bake fruits. So some baked fruits work well. What about a green smoothie? If you've got a blender or you've got a NutriBullet, put some green vegetables, throw some fruit into it, and make yourself a green smoothie as a snack. Another lovely thing that my clients enjoy doing is they make their own, call it a freezer-chino. So a teaspoon of coffee with some milk and ice and water, a little bit of vanilla essence, some sweetener or sugar, and you can even add some cocoa powder. So that's also a nice, refreshing thing to have mid-morning or mid-afternoon. Other nice ideas are soup. You can make a gazpacho soup. You can have biltong, you know, so it doesn't have to be matzo.
Absolutely. All right. And is there anything else you want to add? Because I know we want to start getting into the recipes. We've got Delores, who is going to be making us a salad and showing that we can actually eat delicious, yummy, healthy, fresh food. What would be your closing tip on your Pesach suggestions and Pesach menus?
My closing tip would be, often you're not hungry, you are actually thirsty. Do yourself a favor and go and purchase a soda stream, which makes beautiful sparkling water, which you can throw lemon and slices of lemon and mint and ginger and limes into, and focus on hydration, focus on clean eating, eat, you know, complete balanced meals. And I promise you, Pesach will not be a problem.
I love it. Okay, so very sane advice from a very sane and balanced individual. So thank you so much for coming on. It was lovely to have you again. We'll find an excuse to bring you, don't worry. But that was really awesome advice. So thank you. And we wish you a good day.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. All righty. And now we are going to actually get the cooking going. So we are going to start with Delores. I just have to find her. Here she is. And let's add Delores. And you are in your kitchen. You are ready to go. You're always in your kitchen. You always just look so prepared.
Yeah, I'm in my shop right now, but this is my bar counter in my shop, which I'm using just for the sake of for the purposes of the dem, but I am always here, morning to night.
All right, so tell us, what are you making for us
this
evening?
In fact, last week I happened to have made a crispy macon salad for Shabbos as one of the dishes that I made, and I just suddenly looked at it and thought there's absolutely no reason why you can't make it for Pesach. So I'm going to very quickly show you how to put together the various elements for it and put together the salad. I know we have a short time period, so I'm going to kind of improvise a lot, but show you the basics as I go. Okay, so I also have sent through the recipe so anyone can look at the recipe. I have not finished my Pesach shopping. I have not chased those aisles yet, so I'm not sure of all the ingredients available, but what I did buy, I have used. For example, I bought this mustard. I think there's no knaidlach for those who follow that, but I will check it out. So for the sake of today, I'm going to be using it, and yeah, let's get the show on the road. So the crispy macon salad that I'm doing, literally I used 2 packets of macon. Here, in fact, is one, which we just shallow fried in a pan, a little bit of oil at the base of the pan, and just fried it up till it was very crispy, not too much oil. It didn't drench and it didn't sit in the oil for too long. As it got crispy, we took it out. Okay, I'm then going to add some caramelized figs. So what I did with the figs is I'm using a little bit of sugar, just a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to add in a bit of, for the sake of today, I'm using Blossom Light. I know that there is one for Pesach available, and if there isn't, we could easily use olive oil. And I would literally put that on the stove top and let it start cooking away there. I know we don't have time to go through this whole process now, so I did manage to cook some beautiful figs earlier, and here they are. So it took about 20 minutes till it reduced down. And the other thing I did add in was a little bit of balsamic vinegar, which is available. So I'm just going to add in a bit of balsamic there, just for that tartness. And hopefully by the end, these will be beautiful, just like these ones over here. Okay, the same thing, the way I did the figs is very similar to how I did my onions. So I cut 3 large onions. I sliced them in rings, put them in a pot with some sugar and a little bit of olive oil. And here we have beautiful onions, okay? I'm going to take my salad bowl. I've used spinach leaves for the sake of this, but you could use any green leaves. You could use rocket, you could use lettuce, you could use a mixture of green leaves. I love a whole mixture of green leaves. And I'm going to put my figs. I love the liquid also, so I would let some liquid go into the dish. Okay, to that we're going to add some caramelized onions. And also this dish you could easily use as a biltong salad. You could use crispy chicken. You could even use it with feta and make it milk meal, create a beautiful milk salad with feta cheese. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Lastly, I'm going to top with the crispy macon, and I'm going to add some more onions. The onions really give it the zing, this particular salad. If you wish, you could take some fresh herbs. You could just tear them across. I always like to add herbs to the top of my salad. And here I've toasted some pine nuts, which I know are also available for Pesach. So just going to put a few pine nuts over. The figs are carrying on caramelizing over here. And I'm quickly going to whisk together the dressing for you. So what I've done with the dressing is that I have kept the reduction. I've reserved the liquid from the onions. I'm going to quickly add that in. I am going to add in some, you can use any vinegar, a red wine vinegar, a sherry wine vinegar. I think I've seen on the market some red wine vinegar available, so you could add some of that. I have put the ingredients and the exact quantities with the recipe that you can email to everyone. I'm going to add a dash of sugar, and I'm going to add a dash of the mustard. Sorry. It's obviously a mock mustard. And again, during the year, you wish to use this recipe for, during the year, you could just use any mustard. I'm going to give it a quick whisk. Okay. And I am going to just add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. Oh, I forgot something, which I'm going to add now, which I'm going to show you. So there's my dressing ready. The one ingredient that I thought we could add to this to make it a more wholesome meal is some baby potatoes. So what I did with the potatoes is I always parboil my baby potatoes. I parboiled them, a bit of salt and pepper. Let me show you quickly. So literally what I would do is put a bit of salt and pepper, and I've put some lemon rind. You can see there's just a little bit of lemon rind, a little bit of olive oil. So they are parboiled. Coat them with olive oil. Give them a nice tossing through. You can see also I've used here foil with some baking paper. I know not everyone's got all the dishes and all the pans available. So a nice option is always to use some foil with some baking paper. I use baking paper for almost everything that I do. And that went straight into the oven for like a good half an hour. And what resulted were these beautiful potatoes. So I'm just going to take the potatoes and I'm going to add them. Okay, I'm going to top with a few more figs. And let's just add a few more pine nuts. Drizzle over your dressing. And there you have a beautiful salad ready for as a starter or as a lunch meal or really as anything.
Bacon looks so easy. It looks amazing, and also looks actually like a very filling meal. Now I have to tell you, there are questions that have come in, which is actually I'm finding quite funny, and it's come in a few times. Is that from people in Israel and in the UK? They're asking what is bacon and what else can we use instead of bacon? Because I think we as South Africans we take it for granted that there's bacon.
Oh wow!
As a bacon.
I think it's like almost like a brisket cut. Like it's a cold meat cut that you can fry up. I would think it's like brisket. Maybe my butcher Trevor can write in quickly what bacon actually is, but I just buy it as bacon.
So Karen Michelle has typed in here and she says pastrami will work. Kosher turkey. Okay, yeah. So that's what it is. It's kosher turkey bacon in the US or faken in the US. And someone has also asked what can be used as a veggie version.
I would just, I mean, if you didn't want to put the bacon in, if you want to keep it as a parrot salad, I suppose you could add mushrooms. Beautiful big, I would use portobellini mushrooms, which I would just do exactly the same way. A little bit of thyme, a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper, leave them whole, and I would add the mushrooms in. That's what I would do. So, and I think the mushrooms would work well with the potatoes and the nuts and everything. So I think that would be a version. And I think the crumbled feta would be great for a milk meal. Okay, I'm just showing you here the figs are caramelizing here, and look how quick and easy that was. So you can do it. And again, plums would also work. If you can't get hold of figs, but there are figs available now, you can use plums.
Okay, and you're also getting options. This is so telling because it's telling us literally the global reach of this particular webinar, which I mean, there are literally thousands of people watching. So someone has said they get beef fry in Mexico. Someone in Canada is saying pastrami in Canada. In Israel, you can use beef or shoulder pastrami. This is tiratzvi or zogblok work well. I don't even know what that is. And then someone's asking what you can use instead of figs.
You could even, if you don't love the idea of fruit in a salad, not everyone loves the fruit in I know people in Israel don't always love fruit in a salad. You can look out, or you can use plums. I use a lot of plums, or pears. Pears would also work. In fact, the salad could also work with mushrooms, pears, pine nuts, the rocket and green. And you could leave out the potatoes even then if you wish. So it's kind of a versatile idea. So I think the gist of the salad is that the caramelized onions and figs give it just a different element, and I've used the reserved liquid from the onions in the dressing. So, but you can adapt it. We adapt things all the time.
Exactly. In fact, here's one I've never heard of, and it's fried. Someone says, and this is Bernice, and she says, we use fried smoked goose breast in Israel.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's exotic. That's very exotic. It might be.
But you could easily make it into a shredded chicken salad too. So you could just roast your chicken, shred it, and use shredded chicken also, which would work.
Okay, and there was someone else.
If you don't want the fried bit, maybe that would be a healthier option also. If you don't want the fried bit, you could use chicken, like shredded, the white chicken.
Okay, and then someone also said in the US there are vegetarian bacon bits, which is actually ironic. It's just very funny. I've seen that. Literally, like, it's actually a vegetarian bacon alternative.
Okay.
So we've got a lot of options. I think that everyone has like really weighed in. I think you've literally tantalized all the palates. That looks amazing. So thank you so much. Someone's asking, where are we posting the recipes? And Danny will post it in the chat. And then anyone who registered for the webinar, we will actually send you an email, and the email will have a link to all of the recipes for this evening, so that you'll be able to entertain and impress your guests completely. All right, so thank you so much, Delores. As usual, always wow. I just want to know, where do you actually get your figs? I don't actually buy figs. I've never tried figs.
Fresh fellas in Glen Hazel.
Okay, I'm definitely actually going to try that. And then someone also asked about sweet potato. How about feta chunks for milchik? I think you mentioned that. And then here, Danny has actually just posted in the chat the Bitly recipe link. So anyone wants to can go onto that and copy it. And also we again will be posting it and sending it out. So thank you so much, Delores. I know that you're going to, as I say, do a costume change. So almost like a Rihanna.
3 minutes.
Be back with us shortly. And whilst you do that, we are actually going to show you another video. And that video is actually a video that has been done by us by Laura Kaufman, who's actually one of the behind the scenes people at the Jewish Report, who keeps it going, keeps the paper as it is. And Laura actually offered to share with us her Charoset secret recipe, which she takes us through, because obviously Charoset is a standard on the Seder table, and I think people always just are like, don't really know what goes into it and don't really want to make their own, so it's just easier to buy it. But Laura takes us through step by step and shows us actually how easy it is to make. So Danny, please show us Laura's video.
Hi everyone, I'm Laura, and I'm going to show you how to make the most delicious Charoset for Pesach. First of all, let's go through the ingredients. Your first ingredients is apples. I like to use a mixture of red and green apples. You can actually use more red apples to your ratio of green apples. The red apples give it that lovely, attractive look and feel to it with the red apples. Your second most important ingredient is the kosher sweet Kiddush wine. Any kosher sweet wine will do. This is actually the secret to giving it its absolutely delicious taste. The second ingredient is nuts. Now, with your nuts, you've got a choice. If you want to cheat, you can get the already nibbed almond nuts like this, or if you'd like, you can get a packet of mixed nuts. I'm also going to show you a trick of how to crush your nuts. Now, the thing with Charoset is that it symbolizes the cement that was used to make the pyramids in Egypt. So the more effort that you put into making your Charoset, the more of a mitzvah it is. So a lot of the effort comes into grating the apples, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So the second part of the effort that goes in is crushing your nuts. So it is more of a mitzvah to crush your nuts. So if you want to crush them, I'm going to show you how. You leave them in the packaging that they came in, and then just to be sure you double bag them and tie up the bag. You can also just use an ordinary plastic bag if you don't have these little small packets. And then you would take a rolling pin and you would crush them. Okay, I'm going to just leave it like that. And you take your rolling pin. You literally crush your nuts like this as much as you can. Okay, but for today's purposes, I'm going to use the nib nuts. Like I said, it's a bit more effort to actually crush the nuts like that. So I have already grated the apples earlier. That's, like I say, where most of your effort and your time takes, and it will take too long on this little webinar to actually physically grate the apples. So then you take your apples and you add the nuts, and you sort of coat them quite generously. And then you would take your wine. Now you don't want it to be too watery, but you want to give it a good glug because that's what gives it its flavor. So you give it a nice good glug. And then your last ingredient is the cinnamon, and that's just a little bit of a touch to give it some extra flavor. Just give it a sprinkle. And then the final step to give it that beautiful texture that resembles the cement is to use your hand-hold moulinex if you have one. That is the one that I do recommend. If you don't have one, I suppose you could put it into your Magimix, but it might come out too fine. With the moulinex, give it a good mix. I've actually put a bit too much wine in here, so I would add more apple to reduce the liquid, but that is it. So I wish you all a happy and kosher Pesach, and I hope you make a delicious charoset.
So I hope that it took away all the myths of anyone who thought it was hard to make charoset. So you just need some nuts, some wine. Someone also posted and they asked the question if you can use grape juice instead of wine. And yes, you definitely can. So you can keep it non-alcoholic if you so wish, or otherwise you can just add as much wine as you like. Just make sure that your proportions are correct. And we are now going to go back to Delores, who has cleaned up her kitchen and is ready for the next new wonderful creation that she's going to show us. And you're going to be doing a meat for us tonight.
Yeah. Quick as I can. It's quite a labor-intensive dish. I made it this afternoon. It took me all of like 2 to 3 hours to do the whole thing from start to finish, obviously leaving things in the oven, etc. But it was delicious. I was so happy with how it turned out. So I'm so excited to share it with you. What it is, it's just like a Moroccan-style dish, which is so appropriate for right now. In that I found coconut milk for the first time, and I found some curry powder, and I found some delicious spices. So I thought, why not we use that and put it all together? Okay. So what I've got here is I have got beef goulash, which I think essentially is raisin rib, the cut of raisin rib, and it's cut into squares. I marinate my meat usually 2 days before. Obviously, we don't have all the ingredients available. A little bit of, I'm just going to add in a little bit of salt and pepper and a barbecue spice that I found. There was a garlic and herb spice. I'm going to add a little bit of that. And I'm going to use the barbecue spice. I don't know where it is, but we will find. I'm going to add in a little bit of tomato juice. So like normally I would maybe add in a little bit of chutney or tomato sauce, but I'm just going to add in a little bit of tomato juice. And I would just let and a drop of balsamic. I don't know where my balsamic's gone, but it's fine. Balsamic. And literally you would just marinate or covered, and I would do this for at least 2 days in the fridge. Okay. So that's 2 days or so, or even a day. I shallow fried it today in a little bit of sunflower oil. Here we go. So the trick here is not to drench it in oil and not to deep fry it. Literally, there was just a little bit of, I coated the pan with oil. If I have time just now, I'll show it to you. And yeah, that was the meat. Okay, now to make the sauce. So what I did was, in the pot over here, I've just got a little bit of sunflower oil. And to that, I'm going to add some spices. So normally when like making a curry, I would pop mustard seeds and fennel seeds, etc., a bit of garlic and whatever. I've made a paste here of fresh garlic and ginger. So I'm going to add a little bit of that to the bottom of the pan. I'm going to take some curry powder and mix it with a little bit of vinegar. Where's my vinegar? The base of the whole dish is your curry mix. Okay, in here, and to that I'm going to add chopped onion and chopped tomato. So it's the equivalent of 2 onions and 3 tomatoes. If you like a chunkier dish, you could easily just make it chunkier. And I'm going to Give it a stir. And let it soften a bit and brown a bit. So we've got all the flavors coming together there. And then I would add a little bit of cinnamon and some nutmeg, whatever's available in that like genre of spices, I would add. I would also add some fresh. So let's take some coriander and put in a generous handful of coriander that I'm just going to tear in. For sticking to a recipe exactly as you can tell, but what I have given does work. But again, whatever is available, use. I'm not sure of the whole story of cinnamon sticks. I don't know if cinnamon sticks have to be kosher for Pesach, but if we're allowed to use the whole spice, then I would put some cinnamon sticks in. But for the purposes of today, I'm just going to add in a little bit of cinnamon and a dash of nutmeg. I'm not sure if that's available. And then doing this really quickly, so it's not going to cook completely now for the sake of the dem. And then add in, I know that there's passata available, so you could add in passata, you could add in a tomato juice. I'm going to add in a bit of tomato juice. Simmer on the side over here. Okay, while that is simmering, I've just prepared here, as you can see, some potatoes and carrots. So what I've done is I've done it exactly the same way that I did the potatoes for the macon salad. Here we've got some potatoes and carrots that are parboiled. I would just do a sprinkling of salt and some pepper and a little oil, and I would finish it off in the oven. Okay, so the reason I do this is to just add some depth to the dish. You could easily just boil your vegetables if you wanted to, but look how beautiful they are and rich. And it just gives an extra depth to the dish by just roasting them in the oven. It doesn't take much effort to do that. Okay, so once that, so we're going fast. Okay, I'm just improvising here. So here's my sauce, busy simmering away. And then to that, I would add, towards the end of the process, I would add the carrots and potatoes in. And lastly, I would add the coconut milk.
Are you able to get coconut milk for Pesach?
Everyone, I saw it. That's what actually inspired me to do the dish, because I thought, how would I do it if I wanted a curry kind of a vibe, but not have coconut milk or not have the chutneys or achas or things available. So I thought, let's do it with coconut milk. So I'm going to add the coconut milk in. Okay, be your dish, your sauce ready. And then to assemble it, what I would do is, okay, so here's the sauce which cooked for about 1 hour today. So it's a beautiful, deep, rich Moroccan kind of vibe. I would take my bowl.
That is a serious bowl, Delores.
Spoon in a bit of salt. Take my meat that I've cooked. So I would use an oven-proof dish for serving purposes, and a dish that can be heated in the oven, because then you've got to let it all work together in the oven. So I'm just going to add the meat in. Potatoes, because now I've used my potatoes up for the improvisation side. I'm going to take some of my potatoes, and just to show. Okay. Spoon over. Juice down, but it's not. Heat it like this, so it almost gets like that tagine kind of feel in the oven. So you could use a beautiful casserole dish. This dish actually is oven proof, so it could go into a big oven. And then it's almost ready for serving. And to serve it, I would add and some
never without the garnish.
actually, and even a rind. I don't know where my orange rind is. Here we go. And there you full different kind of Pesach offering. Not your traditional brisket or something, but I think that could work beautifully even at a Seder or definitely during the week. So I have posted the recipe, and I did add the apricots and raisins into the sauce just before it finished cooking. But I think, something different for Pesach, and it all works and quite healthy. You could even do the whole thing in a slow cooker if you wanted to. If you wanted to forget the whole fry story, etc. I really think it would work if you added all these ingredients, put it in the slow cooker, left it overnight, and the next day you would have a beautiful deep dish. There we go.
That looks incredible. And also, so what would you think? Like, obviously you want to stir that sometimes with sambals or like, what would you use?
You could do chopped nuts. You could do chopped nuts. You could do tomato and onion chopped with a bit of spring onion. In fact, I did have some, I had some flaked almonds here. You could do some flaked almonds on the side. If you wanted to, you could even add the flaked almonds in so you get that feel while you're eating the crunchiness of the nuts. You could do a cucumber. You could do very finely chopped cucumber with spring onion, a little bit of apple cider vinegar if it's available, or another vinegar, a little bit of salt and pepper, and then you would have a cucumber side. So you could do a lot of side dishes with this. To make it a beautiful, beautiful meal. In its own. If you wanted to add a starch to it, I suppose you could serve it with a quinoa. You could do a ring of quinoa. You could do mashed potatoes. There are lots of options that you could add if you wanted to.
It looks unbelievable. Someone's asking, where did you get the tomato juice and then also the coconut milk?
I think from Norwood Spa, because it was the closest point for me, and I haven't done my Pesach shopping properly. So that's where I went, and they had everything available. Yeah, it was great. I was so excited to find the coconut milk. I think it would be, even to make a salad dressing, I often use coconut milk sometimes. So it would be, I think it's a nice addition to our Pesach story.
All right, and someone also said that you can't get curry powder for Pesach, not Pesach deck. What else would you use as an alternative?
Let me just find it to show you. There were two types.
And then while you're looking for that, Barbara Wilkin wants to know, do you have a cookbook, Delores?
I know it's the story of my life. Exactly. It's still coming. It's still cooking inside me. It will be out soon. Sorry, but
why do you not have
almost ready?
With the amount of people that I think eat your food on a weekly basis.
Like is that I'm not I don't measure much in life. So I like just throwing things in, and I have to kind of hone in and focus to get things to work. I did have another curry powder that I bought. There were 2 curry powders available, and they're all kosher for Pesach, which is great. So there's the curry.
Someone just said that Kosher World has curry powder, and also curry powder will be at Checkers. Gardelia curry powder, and someone said it's always available in Israel for sure. Some anti-caking agent, and those are not kosher. Okay, so just always look for the stamp, but there is available. Okay, good to know. And I love that you've brought in our Mediterranean, more Sephardic kind of influences over here. So it's not just
and it's always influenced me, that food. So and I was excited to see all the spices available that we could do it. So just to show you, just before we knock off here, you can see here how the sauce is now cooking away here. So I let it go like this for at least an hour, simmering, and then it would be ready.
All right, and then someone also wants to know, if you put it in the slow cooker for lunch, would you cook it all and then put it in the slow cooker, or put it all in raw?
No, before, almost like a cholent. So I would put it in at 6 o'clock the night before and let it go right through the night till lunch.
Okay, so all raw and then
do anything cooked. I would keep it all raw. I think the texture would be slightly different, but I think it would still be delicious. I'm actually going to try it. So I'll try it and then report back.
I might as well, actually. I've never used my slow cooker in a while, so it might actually be like a nice opportunity. So Delores, before we leave you, thank you. I mean, what you've shown us is amazing, and you make it just look so easy, which is, I think, even better, and it always just looks delicious, and I know it tastes delicious.
Put them on the side. Take them out and use them.
We're losing volume over there. So we're just in time. Can you still hear us? Can you hear the volume, Delores? No.
Sorry, I'm back. Yes.
You're back. Are you back? Okay, Shady's back. Okay, I want to just ask you, for Pesach, what are your go-to items? What do you always buy, like straight away? Like you walk into a shop, you're a cook, you know what you like, you're always making new exciting stuff. What are your go-to items?
I always look for tomato paste and tomato, like a passata, tomato sauce, or tomato juice. That's pure, that's like this range. I use it as a base for lots. You know, I use it to make chili sauce. I use it to make Napolitana. I make a lot of Napolitana sauce, and I use Napolitana sauce as a base for lots of recipes. I make melanzani. I make a barbecue chicken. So a lot of that, I use tomato. So the tomato is definitely my go-to item. And then the spices such as ginger and cinnamon, and those spices I always buy. Obviously, we all need matzo and potato starch and all that, so we do buy that. But definitely, I think when I go in, the first thing I look at are just for those items. Yeah, I've learned though that I've really simplified things over Pesach. One year we were with friends who are Chabadniks, and we were with them, and obviously they use nothing out of a can almost. And we had the most delicious meals, and we cooked everything fresh, and we fried, and it was so easy and delicious. Like potatoes, just with a bit of lemon and herb, a little bit of olive oil in the oven. It all works. It's so simple. It takes us back to roots and to just what the pleasure of cooking is, which is not too much time in the kitchen, simple and beautiful food, and just talking to people around the table.
Well, thank you so much. Your input is always
amazing.
Wishing
everyone a kosher and happy Pesach. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Really amazing. Thank you. All right, so that was literally the insights, tips, and tricks. Someone just asked, could you freeze this dish, or would you keep it in the fridge for 2 to 3 days? So let's just bring you back here just to quickly answer that. Delores,
I wouldn't do that. No, I don't. I definitely wouldn't freeze this dish. Definitely not. I don't like freezing anything that has potatoes and carrots and apricots and raisins or anything like that. I wouldn't freeze. You could maybe make a curry sauce if you wished, and you could freeze a sauce. And definitely you could make it 2 days before. Curry keeps very well in the fridge, very well, a good few days in fact. So you could definitely keep it 4 days in the fridge, the sauce, and then add your meat. And I forgot to say that it would work just as well with chicken. And if you wanted to do a whole line fish, I even thought you could spoon it over on a whole line fish, and it would work as a fish dish too.
Oh, that's actually also a very good idea. All right. Well, thank you so much. For anyone who wants your stuff, I know, is it still going to be available at Voodoo Lily and for ordering and all of that over Pesach?
We're pretty full, but I always try and help people where I can. So yeah, let's see how we go for the next few days of orders. I am open here, and I am actually going to be open throughout Chol HaMoed also and they'll be doing some milk kind of dishes, which I'm not going to be able to do before. So give me a shout, and I always help. I love cooking. I love feeding people. I love giving to everyone. So I'll help whoever I can. Thank you. And thanks to everyone for supporting me. It's been a tough year, but we're here. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Delores.
Thanks.
Okay, so yes, so guys, the recipe again, we are adding the link below, and it's going to be in the chat, and everyone who did register will get the email for all the recipes. So yes, so you'll be able to make your own dishes. But before we move on to our next chef, which is Caron Melamed, we are going to be watching a video with an organization that is very close to all of us and one we all support, which is the Chevra Kadisha. And for those of you who did the Purim drive-through, they are having a similar event this weekend. So Danny, please show us the video from the Chev. So there we go. An absolutely great initiative by the cave. So go do a drive-by on Sunday, take 2 products for Pesach and help others in need and help those over Pesach, but also enjoy the show, because we know that apparently the show that they put on for Purim was outstanding. So really, please go and support this incredible cause. And next, we are going to be bringing Caron Melamed up. I'm just going to try and see. She's got obviously 2 cameras. So let's see which one is working. Caron, how are you tonight? So nice to have you back with us.
Thank you. Wonderful to be back with you. Thank you.
And I know I know you do have a recipe book, because it's this thick. I should have actually brought it. It's actually falling apart. I've used it so much, but everything in there is like always outstanding, and people are always referring to it. So a pinch of. And have you done any other recipe books?
No, I haven't. I'm not planning on enough. No, it's so much hard work, and it took me years to accumulate those recipes. I shouldn't say never, because maybe one day.
All right, and you tell me, what is your go-to items? And when you walk into that, when Pesach is coming and people start the hysteria, what are your go-to items that you know you have to put in your trolley?
Okay, well, I'm a bit different because my kids are Chabad. So I have to cook everything. I actually season my meat with fresh fruit, wine, olive oil, lemon juice. They don't even use garlic, my kids. So I'm more on the fresh fruit and vegetable side.
Okay, so there's always more of a challenge, but you
I do, like when they're not with us, I do cook like normal. So then I would make knaidlach, it's matzo meal, matzo bread, geschmierte matzo. We love all those kind of things.
Okay, so all the extra options, like how many ways to move your matzah?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. So tell us, what are you making for us this evening?
I'm doing a crispy crumb chicken. Elise, I don't think would be very happy with it, but it's delicious.
Okay, good. No, it sounded amazing. So I was like, that definitely sounds like the right thing to do.
We ate it on Sunday and it was absolutely delicious.
Marvelous. All right. So then without further ado, please take us through your cooking. I think Danny is going to do the video for you first.
Thank you.
Take questions.
Thank you.
You just have to check that Danny is there. Know that he sent the video. All right. It is raining. I don't know. Maybe there's a thing. Let us ask. I'm just going to get Danny just to check that we definitely have your video. But just tell us what ingredients you use for your video. Do you talk about it in the video?
Yes, I show you all the ingredients. The one thing I was happy to find was smoked paprika, because you can use paprika, normal paprika, but I found smoked paprika at Pick n Pay, and it added such a wonderful depth to the taste, which was amazing. And when I saw potato crisps, I was so happy because I was worried I wouldn't find. So I think on Pesach, when you see something on the shelves that you need and you're not expecting to see it, you get so excited.
Okay, well, and someone's now asking, where can I get your book? It is out of print, and will there be a reprint?
Well, I'm discussing a reprint with my print at the moment, but there's still a few available at Moishi's Butchery.
All right. So, you know what, there's a bit of a problem loading the... although your son just offered to screen share, so I think that would be a good idea. Are you able to screen share? Is he able to screen share?
Okay, so must I move?
No, he's going to put it on for you, and then it's going to come up on your screen, and then we can take questions about your recipe. So absolutely, if he's able to do it, then let's do that. You should have rights to be able to do that.
It'll just be 1 second.
Okay, no problem. Sorry. All right. So, Caron, while we're on that as well, so when you also, I just wanted to know from a shopping perspective, are you the one also buying the chips, the chocolates, all of those other things for Pesach, or are you like relatively, as you say, for the family using fresh stuff, fresh fruit?
I don't buy much chocolates and fruit. I buy what I need. I try every year. I say I'm buying less and less, and I think I'm managing. Okay, so how much stuff you left with afterwards, it's ridiculous. That lies in your Pesach cupboard, and then you don't know if you should use it or chuck it out the next year. So this year I really tried to buy what I needed.
Exactly. And sorry, someone's asking if your book is available anywhere in Cape Town, or is it available online? Are you selling them online?
No, but if they SMS me or email me, I will post it to Cape Town. I've done it a few times for people because I've got a few copies at my house, so they can email me.
All right, so let's put in your chat here. Can we put in your email address here? Let us put in your email address. What is your email address?
Melamed, Karen@gmail.com.
Okie dokes. Let's put it in for everyone. And Melamed is MELAMED, Karen, CARON @gmail.com.
Yes, that's right.
Perfect. I've officially put it in the chat, and someone wanted to know what it's called, and it's called A Pinch Of. Yes. So for anyone who hasn't got the book, it is highly recommended. You do have a range of literally everything from soups to salads to meats to chickens to all of that. And yeah, I would definitely. Someone, Peter Goldberg also says she also uses it all the time. And someone also asked if they can get it in the US. I would just suggest that your email address is in the chat and that they can just email you and make contact.
Yeah.
That's the best way.
Yeah, that's the best way. 100%.
Perfect. In terms of screen sharing, is your son, are you ready to go?
So the organization who provides the laptop won't let me share the screen on Zoom. I have to quit it and then get the admin routes, unfortunately.
So, sorry. You know what? I've got a question. Should we go on to our next video and then give you just time to get reset, and then we'll come back to you?
Definitely.
Please.
All right, cool. So then, Danny, we are going to roll. Another thing that is a stock standard on Pesach is obviously a knaidl. So knaidls are an essential part of every single Seder, and you can't possibly have Pesach without knaidls. So I think what we'll do is we'll roll the video that we're going to show you of knaidl, and that will be shown by Patsy Dakes from Feigels, and then we will come back and we will bring Karen back on with her recipe.
Right, now we're on to a very integral part of the Seder plate, the Seder meal. It's knaidls, which are delicious served in soup. You'll see that the knaidls that are made here, which have been pre-made, that is your mixture. That is the balls before cooking, and that are the balls after cooking. Please note they are brown because they've stood a while, and once they stand, the matzo meal does tend to darken. But once they're cooked up, they lighten and are absolutely yummy. The main ingredients are matzo meal, eggs, schmaltz, salt, sugar, it's a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of sugar, a pinch of salt, and ginger and cinnamon, a pinch of each. We're giving you the recipe, which you're more than welcome to follow. It originally comes from the Goodwill recipe book, so my grateful thanks to them for recipes that I received from about 50 years ago. So once you've formed the balls, you put them into a pot of boiling water, and they need to cook, salted boiling water, and they need to cook at least half an hour with a lid on. Do not open the lid during the cooking process, otherwise they are going to not rise properly. Once they're cooked, if they're not soft enough, then leave it cooking a little bit longer, and then your knaidlach are ready. And then for a bit of a difference, knaidlach with mishlomas.
Sorry, definitely many technical challenges this evening. So that was definitely on the knaidls, and where we are, going. I don't know if Karen's managed to get that up and running yet, but we can actually move on to Nida. So maybe what we'll do is actually start with Nida and So Nida is joining us all the way from Lithuania. Nida, it is so lovely, 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 lovely to have you tonight. And I know you especially had to come all the way from Parliament in Lithuania so that you can be with us and share with us this evening. And you are going to be making a very special meal for us.
Yes, hello to everyone. It's such a nice thing to welcome you from Lithuania and to say hello to the entire world, basically, thanks to you. So the world became very small. So congratulations on an amazing program, and I'm very lucky to be part of it.
Thank you. And again, this isn't the first time we've had you. So we know you are just an amazing cook. You've also got your own book, and you lived in Israel, and your book has got like also so many of the festivals in. I know you've got a few books actually that you even take the photos for. I mean, so you're a photographer, you've got so many talents. It's actually quite scary. I just managed to hang out at Lithuanian Parliament. So we are actually so excited.
Business matters. Even in this hour, I have to keep myself busy with, unfortunately, not my hobbies, but my primary work, which I have to do. But yeah, tonight I'm cooking. Tonight I'm cooking and doing the best herring dish in Lithuania, I promise you. And if you guys are herring lovers, I'm sure you will enjoy the starter, the snack or the salad, herring salad, which I highly, highly recommend.
All right, so I have to tell you that Howard Sackstein, who's not with us this evening, who actually got a night off and is in the game reserve at the moment, has actually written in the chat, too excited for herring under the blanket. And it was so funny because obviously we were talking about having a fish dish, having a herring, and he was talking about when he was in Lithuania and he had herring. What is it? Is it called herring under the blanket? It's actually called...
Yes, that's correct.
True story. Okay, you got to get the title right. So we hope you are watching, and then Nida will excite you with this particular dish. And you also, when we spoke to you that day, you were saying that this particular dish in Lithuania is also used for occasions. There's a lot of meaning behind it. Give us some input into that.
You see, I was trying to find the date, maybe, or the timeline when it appeared in the Lithuanian, so to say, culinary scene, and I couldn't find it. I'm not sure if this is from all times of Lithuania, when we had this big part of Litvaks still among us, or this is, I don't know, during the Soviet times. But I cannot imagine any celebration in Lithuania without herring. And knowing the fact that Jewish people, Litvaks, Jews in Lithuania, were the ones trading herring, I'm sure this must be related, this must be connected, because if not for Jews, I'm not sure if we would ever had such a good herring in Lithuania and so good traditions.
Amazing. And I mean, you're getting, like, first of all, you've got so many friends in South Africa. You've been here so many times. In fact, I think you may have more friends in South Africa than many South Africans, just in general. Got people that say Nida is amazing. I follow her on Instagram. Someone said that the dish sounds a bit fishy to them.
It is. It is, I promise you. It is fishy.
What we love also, when I was in Lithuania and we came to you and you even make your own almond flour, I mean, you are just another level of cook. So sorry, someone's asking what IG is, guys. IG is Instagram. Anyone who hasn't got to IG yet, welcome to 2021 IG's Instagram. But Nida, also, not only that, but we used to think, like, our grandparents especially used to eat a fortune of herring, and obviously there are people through the generations who maybe don't eat as much. And in Lithuania, we used to call, we obviously call like gefilte fish and herring, we used to call it Jewish food, but actually in Lithuania, it's just food. Because everyone eats
that's actually part of our everyday diet. But as I say, this particular herring, this particular dish, herring under the blanket, is very much festive dish. And my daughter, for sure, wouldn't acknowledge any celebration, any festival, if herring under the blanket is not on the table. So it's must on all the weddings, on all parties, family gatherings. It just must be there. It's very important.
Amazing. Okay, so then without further ado, we are going to play your video, which is herring under the blanket, and then I'm sure there are going to be a lot of questions. I know I've got some questions on the herring. So Danny, if you can line that up for us, the herring under the blanket, that would be smashing. And then we can definitely get there. But what I also just wanted to ask you again, like obviously the community in the Jewish community in Lithuania is very, very small, and I know there's like a tiny little shul there. There are about what, 5,000 Jews in Lithuania?
Yes, around 5,000 Jews. Yes.
And are they observing Pesach? Are you seeing any Pesach product? Can you get any Pesach product in Lithuania?
Well, it's tough. I mean, if you want to keep kosher in Lithuania, I think it's challenging. But I'm sure, Pesach is such an important celebration. So for sure, people do celebrate and they do arrange all the products nowadays. It's not complicated to get everything, shipped to you from any part of the world if you want. So celebrations such as Hanukkah or some really Rosh Hashanah, all the Jewish celebrations, they are very well seen in the central part of the city. There is Hanukkah, and a lot of things are happening, and a lot of celebrations. And Lithuanians are very much into relearning, getting again back into this common traditions and knowing more about Jewish traditions, about Jewish celebrations, and very much appreciate this opportunity to see and to be part of it. So I find it very, very, very exciting.
Amazing. Okay, well, so for anyone who hasn't been to Lithuania and you've got your heritage there, I would strongly suggest going and visiting Vilna, Kovna. It's just, for me, it was just an eye-opening trip. It was incredible. And especially if you've got family that come from there, you can go to those towns and you can actually visit. And again, see all the herrings. So without further ado, play your video and we'll have a conversation afterwards.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Dina. Thank you so very much for allowing me to be part of this amazing program and to share my recipe, which maybe to some people in South Africa will remind something about the ancestors and about the roots. So I'm very, very proud and happy to share with you a recipe with one ingredient which I am sure connects Lithuania and South Africa and Israel and all places where our Jewish brothers and sisters live. It's herring for sure. And according to the stories passed around here in Lithuania, apparently your ancestors, when they lived in Lithuania, they used to eat at least one herring a day to stay healthy, to stay well, to get all nutrition needed. So today we're gonna make something of herring, of the ingredient which is very, very popular here in Lithuania. What I'm going to make tonight is herring under the blanket. It's very, very popular recipe here in Lithuania, passed from generations to generations, of course. It's very easy, it's not complicated. The biggest job has already been done because it's all about chopping, so I'm not going to bore you with all this, chopping and cutting things. I just will show you how to layer it and how to present it nicely for the table, which I'm sure could be a nice dish for your Pesach dinner, for the Seder. I will be making the individual salads to the glass bowls, and usually we serve this dish in a glass bowls because we want all layers to be seen. So we either choose this kind of bowl, or even for the bigger celebration, we sometimes use martini glasses. Also, if there is a bigger family, the table is full of more people. Usually we put it into the big glass bowl and serve it as a salad, so every person can have as much as he wants. So I will show you. It's very simple. All you have to do, you have to boil some potatoes with the skins, and when they are cool enough, just to peel them off and then cut to pieces. You will have to have beetroots. I usually bake beetroots wrapped in foil, but also you can cook it. But I like it more baked because I think they keep more texture and more flavor when we bake them instead of boiling them. Then obviously we will have to have some herring. I already chopped it, cut into pieces because everything has to be cut. Or if you are too lazy to cut, you can grate it. Of course, all the vegetables. We will need also some red onions, also chopped. We will need an apple, which I grated and added some lemon juice, but you know, apples, they very quickly become brown, but doesn't matter because we will add cinnamon on it, so you will not see that not nice color. So don't worry about that. We will need some mayo and some eggs, cooked eggs, boiled eggs, and some, you know, greenery to add for the beauty. Okay, so let's start layering the salad, the blanket. So first of all, I will put some potatoes. As I said, you can grate potatoes or you can cut potatoes. I certainly like cut potatoes. Again, you know, the pieces which you will be cutting, up to you. Some people grate them, some people cut into bigger chunks, some people like smaller chunks. So again, it's very much up to you. The second layer is my herring. I try to keep the same size of the pieces when I cut. Just I think it looks nicer. And when it comes to proportions, it's supposed to be 1 part of herring and about 3 parts of the vegetables, more or less. But again, you know, you can add if someone loves a particular vegetable more than something else, you are free to improvise here. So 2 layers already done. On top of herring, I will be putting some chopped onions. I was using red onions, but of course you can add shallots because they are sweet and nice, whatever you feel like. And again, you know, if you dislike this flavor of onions, of course you can either pour some boiling water on it just to remove that, you know, aggressive smell, or you can also add some lemon juice or some vinegar, again, you know, to diminish a little bit this aroma of onions, which I like, but I know there are people who not necessarily do. Now I'm adding apples. I grated apples. I'm adding a generous, nice layer of the apples, fresh, nice apples, sweet and sour, whatever you have, but my preference is to have a little bit of a sweetness here. I will be adding cinnamon on top. You can also add cinnamon and mix with the apples. And the last or the top layer is beetroots. Now I'm adding beetroots on top of it. And on the beetroots, I will be adding mayonnaise. So you have to keep in mind that you can make all these salads ahead of time, and it's even, you know, it's even better if they stay for a couple of hours in the fridge, and they will just, you know, get all the flavors. But if you add mayo on top of beetroots, the mayonnaise will become reddish. So again, you know, it's a matter of taste. Some people do not care about this, but if you want mayo to remain a nice color as it is originally, so you want to add it in the last perhaps stage of and before serving. So I'm just adding now. We'll use perhaps 2 spoons to put it nicely. And then I will do the decoration, and I will show you how my mother used to decorate it. Usually she would invite us kids to help with decorations. You can choose, of course, your way, but I think to me, it's quite nostalgic. So as you now can see, we have layers of the salad. And now on top of it, I will be adding some chopped boiled egg. Again, you can chop it, the whole boiled egg, and you can just sprinkle on top of it. We used to separate yolks from whites because we would like to put some kind of ornaments on top of it, like layers of white, yellow, or maybe to create a shape of egg, or just to create something. So, well, maybe this time I will add half of it nicely of the whites, and half of it with the yolks, so that it's like divided into 2. All right, and I think it's nearly done. Okay, this is how it looks. Let me show you. This is how it looks. This is what you see when you serve it, and you know, when you put on on the nice table, so it looks nice because people can see what they will be eating. And of course, you know, it's really delicious meal because you are you know, having with a spoon or with a fork, and you are getting all these ingredients nicely in your meal. So this is finished dish. This is how it looks. Herring under the blanket, as you see, herring nicely lays on top of the potatoes, and then has all these layers. And one more thing I would like to show you, which I have done already previously. So also you can use these rings also, and to form nicely your salad, your portions, your individual portions with the rings. Let me now take it off and show you how it's done. So this is basically yet another way of nice presentation. I just will be adding some greenery on top. And this is how I usually present my herring salad, herring under the blanket. And I don't know, even people who are not very much happy about herring, they usually love this dish, maybe because it's very nostalgic, or maybe it reminds everyone families and homes and you know, nice times together. So this is how it looks. I think it's beautiful, and I promise you it's really delicious. So if you will be making it for your Pesach, for your Seder, I hope you will enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching. Chag Pesach Sameach. Wishing all the best to you all. Bye.
Wow, 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 wow. So I have to say that I literally, Nida, I cannot believe that we've lost you. I want to find you to come back. Let me add you there, and then just on your video. I must say, like, I have to tell you, I am actually officially sold. Okay, so I'm not the biggest herring fan, I have to admit, to my family's disgrace and horror, but that looked beyond incredible. In fact, even if you don't eat the herring, I think you can even probably substitute it with a mock crayfish or whatever else. So there are so many questions that people are asking about the herring. They want to know, is it salted? Is it fresh? Is it raw? I know you put it in there. Must you soak the herring? Give us your secret. Is it raw? What is it?
Okay, so I was telling you, this dish is eaten even by those who claim that they do not like herring, because herring, it's under the blanket, so it's there. You do not even feel that it has some aggressive flavor. So don't worry, you have to try, and I'm sure you would love it.
Yes, so someone did ask, sorry, just before we get there, someone did ask, where does the name come from? So herring under the blanket. So
no idea. I think yes, because you put herring and then you add blankets, and you hide it somehow under the blanket. But okay, so with herring in Lithuania, if you go to the supermarket, you have 20-30 sorts of herrings, all kinds of herring. So it's not a problem for us to get herring. Now in the rest of the world, herring is always like a delicacy. So in New York, you would go to Katz Delicatessen, and there you could expect perhaps to get some herring. So I'm sure there is the best. If you have access to the fresh herring, to fresh fish, the best way is to pickle yourself. To put it in brine and to keep it for a week. This is how I usually make, and I usually make a lot of herring. I then share with my family because people are lazy. It's so easy. It's so easy. It's just you put fish into the brine and that's it, and leave it. But it's the best. I promise you, it's the best. So herring definitely must be pickled or salted. It has to be salty. It has to be salty. Nothing else is needed. You don't have to add any other flavor. All flavor comes from the salad and from the mixture of these flavors, which come from vegetables.
Okay, so Dani Kato wrote that Nida makes my inner Ashkenazi drool.
Yeah. Very, very glad.
Sold on this. Someone's asking where you can get raw herring in Cape Town. Sorry, Nida, I know you probably won't know that, but I think the fish shops will probably, a normal fish shop should have herring for you if you.
You know what? I even when I usually buy herring frozen. So maybe you should look for the frozen one, because frozen is perfect. Frozen is perfect. Maybe someone is, I don't know, bringing to Cape Town or Johannesburg frozen fish, so it's amazing. Or maybe you should try it with your Cape Townian fish to replace herring. Maybe to pickle it and to make the same thing. I think it would be also nice.
And this is so funny. This is from a lady named Funda Dub in Israel. She says, so interesting. I started Funda 25 years ago in Israel. One of my clients from Cape Town said she had to have this dish for her event. I told her I'd never made it. She posted it to me and I still use it and love it. So, I mean, that is amazing, amazing. And sorry, from Sax has said you can get frozen fish herring from Checkers at Bluebird. So yeah, so I think there's a lot of options, but again, so you can actually basically put pretty much any fish into that dish and serve it. And then would you serve it in a big bowl, like a big one, or not individual?
Yes, no, absolutely. You know, you see, Lithuanian families are smaller families. So when we sit at the table, we are maybe 8 or 9 or 10 people max. So, you know, so you can have these individual portions. And again, it's like a restaurant style. Okay, so you can, it looks nicely. But usually our mothers, when they used to prepare the table for the biggest celebration, we always would use a big glass bowl, but it has to be glass because you have to see all these nice, beautiful layers. My recommendation is just to leave it without mayonnaise. Of course, you know, if it doesn't bother you that mayonnaise gets a little bit reddish because of the beetroots, it's okay. I mean, to me, it looks nice, but allowing all these flavors to marry, I think it makes a lot of difference also. So it's good because you can do all the work before the celebration. So you know, it leaves you more time.
Wow, no, that is seriously okay. I really am officially sold. I just want to know how long can you leave if you pre-prepare them? How long can you leave them in the fridge for with those holders for them?
I would say maybe I wouldn't keep longer than you know, the day before. I mean, you can do the chopping a couple of days before the celebration, because you know you just keep it in separate dishes, and then to layer it, it's just, you know, it's just a couple of minutes. You saw it. I was just, you know, putting on top. I would recommend, to me, ideal time for this salad to, you know, to get all these flavors together. I would say 2 to 4 hours, but you can keep a little bit, you know, longer, 6 hours, I think. Yeah. It's easy. It's so easy. And it's really, it can be done in advance, which is so important when you are doing celebrations and cooking for the big family.
All right. No, well, okay. I definitely think it is a definitely unique dish that I think people also can start trying at their seders. I know a lot of people historically had done like the tuna, mayonnaise, I think egg and avo, but this is definitely the new Lithuanian, the real Lithuanian twist on it. So we should get back to our roots.
And I will be happy to share, by the way, the brine, how I pickle, how I do my own, you know, herring. If people can access the fresh herring, or fresh wouldn't be available because it's very short season for the fresh herring. So usually they import frozen, which is perfect because you can have it all year round and pickle as many herrings as you want. So I will definitely share the recipe for pickling.
Amazing. Great. So I know we have shared the link. Whatever's not on the link now, you just copy the link and we will upload whatever hasn't been uploaded tonight. We'll upload it later on or tomorrow, and hopefully put a link on the Jewish Report website so that everyone can have these recipes. And just quickly tell me what's going on in Lithuania. Are you under lockdown? Are you out of lockdown? Is it minus 20 outside?
Not anymore. It's +2. No, we +2, yes. But we will be having +10 to the next week. So we are very excited and very happy. Summer and spring is coming. Spring and summer is coming. So we are very lucky. Speaking about the corona, we are now getting out of it slowly. So we are, you know, releasing more and more, but we are very much afraid of the neighbors who are now experiencing apparently the third wave. So we do not want to relax too much so that we are not locked for the third time. So let's hope.
Right. Well, Nida, it is always unbelievable to see you. You're an amazing, talented chef, photographer, helper for Lithuanian passport visas. You're amazing. So thank you. And you're always willing to come on. So thank you so much. And I'm going to try a version of You're hearing under the blanket. Howie, we're not here with you. I know you're watching, and we hope that you've enjoyed it. I know that his mouth is watering currently, and as is a lot of people. Sorry, someone just asked, in the US, we get herring in a wine sauce in a jar. Can you use that?
I assume yes. Why? But yeah, I mean, it's such a flexible dish. You just should try. If you like the taste, why not? Yeah. I would use it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Nida, and
thank you.
And hopefully we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Let's hope, and Chag Sameach to everyone. I so much miss South Africa, and I so much miss all my friends. And really, it's the toughest year, in this sense to me.
I know. Well, we hope to see you very soon, and we hope that everyone's skies are open.
Exactly. Amen.
Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye.
So guys, that was an absolutely definitely unique dish that I know that I have never seen. Someone's writing that pickled onions in a jar are the easiest. And someone said, can we get a picture again of the dish? Okay, so we'll try and show it just now. But we are going to try again with Caron and see what's cooking on her side, and if we can try and show the video. So yes, Danny is starting our video with Caron, and then we'll come back and ask questions on that.
Hi guys, I'm so happy to be back with you and the Jewish Report doing another cooking dem. This one is for Pesach, and we're going to make a delicious crispy crumb chicken, which can be done with chicken portions, schnitzel, or chicken strips. First, we're going to start with making our crumbs. The recipe calls for a cup of matzo. I'm just going to make a small quantity because I'm using my small Maggi mix. But if you haven't got a Maggi mix and you've got one of these, do it in small, break it up into small little bits, and then you can put it in here. Calls for a packet of quesadilla salted chips, not salt and vinegar, salted chips. And then it calls for a tablespoon of chicken stock, just dry chicken stock, no red word. And then a tablespoon of paprika, and I'm using smoked paprika because I found that at Pick n Pay this morning, and it's got a delicious taste. But you can use just ordinary paprika. Now, it's not necessary to salt your chicken because the crumbs have got the salted chips and the chicken stock, which is salty. So it's not necessary to add any extra salt. I've just blitzed it, and this is what you end up with. Delicious, delicious crumbs. Okay, so this quantity in the recipe is enough for 2 chickens cut into portions. Here I have 2 eggs, which I've whisked with some water, and here I have plain, simple potato starch. So as with any crumbing, you begin with your potato starch, which would be your flour. Then you do it in your egg. It's quite a messy job, and your hands get nice and gooey. You have to keep washing your hands. Then drip off any excess egg, and then put into your crumbs. Then you place this on a baking tray, which is covered with tin foil. I always cover it with foil to protect my tray, and rubbed in with a little bit of oil. I've now crumbed 5 pieces of chicken, and I'm going to drizzle it with oil, but you've got to be generous with the oil because it's going to brown it and crisp it up. And then you put it in the oven on 180 for 40 minutes aside. So after 40 minutes, you turn it over and then you bake it for another 40 minutes. And as you can see, I've cut the breast in half. It's not 100% necessary, but sometimes the breasts are very big. Sometimes they're very small, then just leave them. While the chicken is in the oven, I'm going to just crumb a few pieces of schnitzel and strips. You order thin schnitzel from the butchery for the schnitzel, and thick schnitzel from the butchery for the strips. And you can cut them into strips or ask the butchery to cut them into strips for you. That's the strips. So this is the thin one and this is the thick one. So we do the exact same thing. We put it in the potato starch and then the egg. Make sure it's evenly coated. Drip off all the excess egg and put it in the crumbs. And then this is best to crumb it an hour or two or even the day before you're going to fry it. Just so the crumbs settle and get hard onto the chicken. And then here's just a strip to show you. Then in the egg. You can bake the schnitzel if you want, but you still need to use a lot of oil. So rather just shallow fry it and drain it well. Okay, so now I have crumbed all the schnitzel and the chicken strips, and it's been refrigerated for 3 hours. I said an hour is enough, but I've done it for 3 hours. And now I'm going to fry it in shallow hot oil. So come with me to the frying pan. And add the schnitzel. So we're going to fry it till it's brown and crispy. I'm making a dipping sauce to serve with the crumbed chicken or the schnitzel. If you don't like this one, you could use just mayonnaise and sweet chili sauce, or you can simply just use fresh lemon. It's good enough. But this is delicious. It's a garlic dill sauce. So basically we're making a mayonnaise. So I've got 2 eggs at room temperature. I've got 1 clove of garlic, which has been cut into pieces. I've got 1 tablespoon of sugar and half a teaspoon of salt, 3 tablespoons of vinegar, and the only thing you'll see that's missing is the mustard, which we can't use. So I'm going to blitz this all up. And I'm going to remove this to pour the oil through. I've got 2 cups of oil here. So you slowly drizzle your oil. I've now finished pouring the oil. So what I'm going to do is remove the lid and add the dill, which I've cut up. I've checked and I've cut it up into smaller pieces. And now you can just blitz the dill in. It's best to make this dill sauce a day or 2 before you serve it, because then the dill infuses with the mayonnaise and the garlic infuses with the mayonnaise. So now we just transfer it to a serving dish and you cover it and you refrigerate it till you need it. This is also delicious. You can serve with fried fish or gefilte loaf. The chicken is now, the schnitzel's now ready to be turned. You can see how crispy it is. you just fry for another 3 or 4 minutes on the other side. And then you continue to fry until it's all done. Okay, now I've fried the schnitzel and I'm at the end of frying the chicken strips. So I'm going to remove them and put them on a cake cooling rack to drain with some newspaper and roller tar underneath, just to catch the oil. So we switch off. And now it's been 40 minutes that the chicken's been in the oven. So I'm going to remove it and I'm going to turn it over. Basically having a shallow fry.
Can you use something else besides egg as a substitute?
The only thing I could suggest if you don't eat eggs is to use a vegan mayonnaise. But then leave out the potato starch, brush the chicken with vegan mayonnaise if you don't eat eggs, and then dip it in the crumbs.
All right, and I've also seen like before suggestions are of like the juice from what do you call them? I'm trying chickpeas. The chickpea juice. Would you be able to?
Okay, I've never seen that. I've never heard of that, but that's interesting to try that.
Interesting, or maybe safer vegan mayonnaise, absolutely. And then someone else wanted to know if it's not Pesach, how much mustard do you use?
You use 2 teaspoons of English mustard powder.
Okay. And then the next question, and I know there's a huge like trend at the moment. I know everyone's getting an air fryer. I know I actually have one and I love my air fryer. So they want to know, can you do this in an air fryer? We always go from a great meal to the dessert. So Sharon, thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you again for coming back onto our show.
It's an absolute pleasure, Dina. I always like the dessert part, my favorite part of the meal. But in this case with Pesach, I think we need to keep it as simple as possible. So I'm doing a very delicious fresh dessert because I don't think we need to make it very complicated. I'm not a cake meal person, sorry. That's the one thing I refuse to buy over Pesach. So we're doing some fruit. And bearing in mind that there are a lot of people in the Northern Hemisphere who are actually watching and are still coming out of winter and are going into spring. So they're not going to have the luxury of these beautiful fruits that we still have in South Africa. They'll have to do apples and pineapples and pears and those kind of fruits. But then they're going into summer, so then they can move on to the ones that I'm using tonight. But we have beautiful plums. So I want to make a plum sorbet tonight. And the biggest thing with my whole feeling about food and about desserts is to try and limit the sugar that we're going to use, because I think the whole secret about sorbets was that you made a sugar syrup with sugar and water, and that gave you the volume. But if you actually realize that fruit has its own natural sugars, and one doesn't need to add a lot of sugar to it, nor liquid, it actually does its own thing, and that's the secret about it. So what we are doing is we are actually using 1 kilo of fruit. So if you're using a stone fruit like a plum, then you're going to cook it. If you're using apples or pears, you're going to cook them. If you use anything else like mangoes or pineapple or grapes or berries, they definitely don't need cooking. And obviously you will add sugar according to the taste. So at the moment, the plums are really sweet. What I've got is a nice big pot, but I've made parts of this already. So I've cut the fruit up quite small because we really wanted to stew and simmer. We add no liquid, no water, no juice, nothing. And we are literally putting it in a pot like that, but you want to cover it. And we are going to let it just simmer. It's about 15 to 20 minutes on a medium-low heat. And you'll see that the juices start coming up, even apples with the skin on, pears with the skin on, leave everything with the skin on. For me, it's about texture as well. So basically, when it's finished cooking, you're going to have a mixture that looks like that. Now, personally, I would eat that with fresh yogurt and homemade granola made with a little bit of matzo meal or nuts or coconut, whatever you guys are making granola with over Pesach. It is absolutely delicious. So the only thing that we are going to add here is about a tablespoon of caster sugar or superfine sugar. And if you didn't have that, if you added it while it's hot, then it will melt in quite quickly. And literally, that is the amount of sugar. So if you don't want to use white sugar, brown sugar, which we don't have available over Pesach, honey, a syrup, whatever works for you guys, even a sweetener. Now, once you've done this, and I always say, you know, we don't want to spend too much money at Pesach. So the most important thing is to keep your appliances as simple as possible. And the one thing you have to have is a stick blender. So the Kenwood one for me is fantastic because it has the blender at the bottom and it has the stick part for the soups and sauces. So all I'm going to do is literally process it. Pretty much, once you processed it, sorry about the noise, and there's a pip in there. So I'm not going to keep going until we get it quite smooth, but it's soft, so it should literally just be able to be mashed, even if you don't have a blender. You're going to put it into a flat container. Now, it's really good here to get it into the flat container because we want to process it so that we can then chop it up and make it into a beautiful sorbet. I just need a spatula. And pretty much all you're going to do, you'll find the pip right now. Spread it into one of your foil containers, a flat Tupperware, anything. Okay, I know that it doesn't need more sugar, especially if you're making it for to have some yogurt over Pesach or vanilla ice cream. The tartness really works quite well, which is why you want to try and use a tart fruit. But if you're using an apple or a pear, a bit of cinnamon and honey will work quite well. You then freeze this. So we have some that we have already made and frozen. And what I'm going to do now is take the frozen one out the freezer, chop it up, and show you how to process that. So pretty much, the reason I like the foil containers over Pesach is I'm just loosening it, literally. And the reason we do it flat is because the flatter it is to chop. So you want to actually leave it out for a little bit just to get it to the point that you can cut it. So my freezer obviously is not a very cold one. It's rock hard. So there's no egg in here, there's no sugar syrup, there's literally that just 1 tablespoon of sugar that I put in there. And what we want to do, because we chop like this, is to process it in small batches. So you may or may not have a big food processor that you keep for Pesach. And if you don't have one, then this works beautifully, but you want to do this in batches. So a little bit at a time, because the machine's going to work too much, and then the actual sorbet becomes very, very slushy, and that's a problem. So I'm going to use the big machine just from a time factor. As far as the actual plums go, I want to just show you the kind that I used. So we have these beautiful black ones. They are yellow inside. Then last week we had the red ones, which are red inside. So I actually combined everything. It's a kilo. And then we have, I don't know if you get them overseas, but we have prune plums. And at the moment they are incredible. They're just really hard and quite delicious. So I'm going to use these to grill a little bit later when we do our grilled fruit. But what we want to do is process this mixture. And I'll just do half at a time. Because I already have some made, we'll just process some of it. Just from a time factor, I think we're running very late here. So I'm going to just do a little bit to show you. And what we want to do is actually just mix them in the machine. And with your metal blade, I'm going to process. So literally, we're going to keep scraping down the sides. You can see it's becoming beautiful and fluffy. Now, obviously, this is exactly how you would get it out of an ice cream shop, but you can serve it in a good machine. The longer you go, the fluffier it gets. But actually, that's what you want. gets whiter as it becomes fluffier. And that is pretty much what we want. So now all you're going to do is put it into a container and put it into the freezer. And we literally are going to just scoop it into a container like this. And you got to admit, that looks really scrumptious. So it's pretty much pure fruit. If you didn't want the sugar, you wouldn't put the sugar, obviously. I think the color is just gorgeous. We eat with our eyes. So if you could do green grapes even, or red grapes, or any kind of fruit that has some color, like a pineapple, that would work quite well. Oranges, they are citrusy, so it's going to be a little bit more icy, but that will also work quite well for you. So we're going to refreeze those because we have no time. And what I'm going to carry on with now is the roasted fruit, because the roasted fruit is going to be grilled quite quickly. So I'm just going to get my pan on. But I have some ice cream that I've already made that I'm going to scoop into a beautiful bowl that shows you can just take it straight from the freezer and work with it immediately. It doesn't matter that it's going to refreeze too hard. I'll probably straight on for the roasting of the fruit, grilling of the fruit. And our pot is just going already on its own here. I just need the ice cream from the freezer, please. To scoop into a bowl. Thank you. Perfect. So pretty much that's what it looks like. This one I didn't process as long, but you can see I'm taking it straight from the freezer and scooping it into beautiful balls to put into a bowl. And yes, you can freeze glass, believe it or not. It's actually better with cold things rather than hot. So you can see it's coming out beautifully. Obviously, if your freezer is not quite as, or is more effective than this, like the chest freezers, you are then going to take it out about 15, 20 minutes before you serve it. But you couldn't ask for anything more beautiful and to freshen and accompany the end of a meal. So there you have it, guys. So we're going to just put this in the freezer while we grill our fruit, and it will be ready to come out so that we can plate it up at the very end. Right. So what fruit am I using? Luckily, as luck would have it, the end of summer is still here. We have beautiful stone fruit. We've got plums. We have some berries that I'm not actually going to grill. But I want to use a juice as well. Now what I've done is I've taken fresh orange juice and I've reduced it. So your recipe says 3 cups reduced to 1.5 cups or whatever. But you basically, the recipe, the quantities are exactly right. I just want to check what I've told you guys to use. Yeah, 3 cups boiled down to 1.5 cups. Now the whole secret is the more intense the juice, because it's reduced by boiling uncovered, the more flavor you're going to have. So we're only going to add the juice at the end, because remember, fruit sits and its own natural juices come out. So I've got nectarines, dessert peaches, South African yellow clean peaches. Sorry, you South Africans will have to just drool over these. It's the end of the season, but they're still pretty good. We've got some pineapple, which I've sliced down the center. We've actually got clemengolds, clementines, or mandarins, as you would call them, which are, I just want to show you how to peel them. So I've reduced the mango juice and some fresh orange juice, neither of which needs any sugar at all. Okay, we're going to cut the plums so that you can see it, but we're going to add a little bit of honey, that's it. So in my frying pan, I'm getting this pan as hot as possible. It's going to be smoking, I don't know if you can see it. So I'm using my biggest plate, and if you're doing a small quantity, just your small frying pan. It doesn't need to be something huge. The most important thing here is the heat, because this is quick. It's 1, 2, 3, otherwise it's stewed fruit. And a lot of people don't actually like hot fruit. They like it cold. Some people don't like roasted fruit. So you can make this ahead of time, a couple of hours or earlier in the day, and just let the fruit sit and be at room temperature. Do not refrigerate it. It's delicious, but you want to keep that color, and that's the most important thing. So I'm going to take a drop of coconut oil. We have pasted coconut oil, and the coconut oil I think is better than regular oil. And you literally are putting maybe a teaspoon in the pan. So it's just doing that. And obviously, as it heats, it spreads. Just be careful that you don't splash all over yourself. That's the most important thing. You want a serrated knife. That's very important because serrated knives cut fruit beautifully. So we're going to cut the fruit in half, okay, as flat and straight as possible. And I'm going to just take out this pick like that. Now, if you're doing apples or pears or any of the harder fruits, you want to grill them a little bit longer because those fruits actually are harder fruits. They're going to take not much longer to grill. Just be sure that we don't overheat the pan. Okay, pineapple slices are quite thick. These are small pineapples. So if you have large ones like in the US, just be aware that there's a lot more juice in them. And these clemengolds are very, very small still. So we're just going to halve them, literally, because I want to keep them like that. I'm not even cutting them into thin slices because remember, our fruit's going to get smaller as it cooks. Shrink is actually the word that I need. That's my beautiful plum. Just take out that pip. So we want just an assortment of colors. It's about color on a plate. So peeling oranges or clemengolds or clementines or mandarins, take your top and bottom off, serrated knife, and then you're just going to go around like that so that you get to the actual fruit where you get rid of all the pith. Now, I was going to use that in my sauce, and what I discovered was that it actually makes it very bitter. So don't use it at all, guys. Just leave it out. You can obviously add some cinnamon sticks if you'd like, or cinnamon, a little piece of ginger if you'd like. I like it just simple. I like it plain. The nectarine, we've got the dessert peach is ready to go. So on the pan, we've got a few bugs flying around here. You're going to put your fruit flat, okay? Now you don't want to do this for too long, so don't overcrowd the pan. You cannot add it all in one shot. Okay, take your tongs and literally push it down, just like that. You literally are just blackening it. I want to use this pan to grill in the oven, and my grill is actually on also. So I'm going to open the door because the grill is very hot. And all I want are those lines. I want that black that I'm going to get from the fruit. So the more I compress it and the more I push it down, the more lines I'm going to get. Just put it into that coconut oil. That's good in there. So a small pan would be better. But basically, you can see you're starting to get those black lines. That little bit of oil just gives you the black that you need. Okay, do not overcook it. Okay, it comes looking good. I'm going to add just a drop of coconut oil here, which will give me that little bit that I need to get the color. So pretty much that's it. As soon as I take it out, we're going to put in, so you're only going to do one side, the top side, right? Here we go. We're going to put in our pineapple and our mandarins, okay? And the pineapple has its own sugar, so it literally will caramelize. Now, all of these juices make their own juice in the pan. So be careful how much you add in the way of juice. You'd rather add it right at the end. That's the most important thing. Okay, push down and just literally a little bit of coconut oil. So I'm quite aware of how much oil we want to use when cooking. Everybody's very conscious about what they're eating, but we eat with our eyes, so we want lots of color. And pineapple again, when it's overcooked, it's awful. So just literally cook it until you get that black. Now we're going to grill this in the oven, so they really don't need long. Look how beautiful they're looking. That pan is smoking hot. And I'm just watching my plums, which are starting to cook. I'm just turning up the stove. You can see there's a lot of juices coming at the bottom. So it's about 15 to 20 minutes. And we'll just quickly do these oranges and roll. Right. Now, luckily, we have some beautiful other fruit. We have some strawberries, grapes, raspberries, if you use raspberries, and those beautiful figs that we used in the beginning by Delores. You can caramelize them in a pan, and Woolworths actually do sell them, so you're just going to halve them, literally like that. And what I'm going to do, these are not cooking at all. what I'm going to do with these, let's get this one down. I don't want it to overcook. Is I'm going to, I'll put the figs in for 1 second, literally just to get that color. We're going to keep everything in the same pan under the grill. Now with apples and pears and that kind of fruit, you want to go lower down in the oven, not directly under the grill. So what you're going to do is you're actually going to put your rack in the center of the oven because they now need to grill on a lower temperature. So just drop more in there. And then I'm going to put my pan back in the oven. So these we'll add later. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take some foil, heavy foil, and I'm going to cover the handle with foil. Because if I put this in the oven without covering it, it's going to melt. So it's not actually going directly under the grill, but this is a just in case kind of mode. So if you don't put a handle, if you have a metal handle, obviously for your time. If you don't, then you want to cover it with foil. Okay, things are going up. I just want to grab this mat because I need a mat. Otherwise, you can't see it's going to. So our fruit is going back into the pan. I'm going to put the big fruit in the center. Everything is cut side up. Now what we want to do is take our juice and just pour a little bit in here. It's going to pick up all those beautiful flavors that are already in the pan. A little bit of honey, just a little drizzle, just to glaze the fruit. Okay, let's put the rest in first. Now, I already did these earlier, so I'm going to finish them off now. This is nectarines, peaches, my pineapple, and the grill is on. So this is literally going to take just a few minutes. So if you really don't want them cooked more than this, just leave them like that, which is why you can see you can't overcrowd it, and which is why you're going to actually be doing this just because you're going to have only a few people, my family or youngsters. Okay, so a drop of honey, and we're going directly under the grill on the highest rate possible with your element on. Now, in this particular oven, you actually want to keep it with the door open. So I need to keep the door open. Some ovens only work with the door closed, but in my case, the door works much better when it's open. So we'll just leave these over here ready to put onto our platter. They don't really need much cooking down. So if you don't have a frying pan that works and everything doesn't fit into it, a very flat roasting pan will work quite well. Just be sure that it fits under the grill and then it works fine. Okay, so I've got some fresh mint, beautiful fresh mint here that we're going to use for decoration. We've got our juices that we're going to add right at the end. And we've got our grapes and raspberries and strawberries, which are just going to give us color. And that's what it's about. It's about beautiful, beautiful colors. So we'll wait for 2 seconds while this comes out. If you look at the pot, the plums are stewing beautifully. I just like to stir them so that they don't catch at the bottom. And you would do the same with apples and any of your other fruits. So it's working beautifully. You can see now I'm going to turn it down to a much lower heat. So I really don't want it to catch and I want those juices. And literally just let it simmer for about 20 minutes. Okay, so normally from a time factor, I would leave this in just a little bit longer. But obviously we are running out of time here. So I'm going to just cut this short and we're going to plate this pretending that it's actually been cooking and reducing for quite a long time. And that it's got a little bit more color. But I like it when the fruit is not too well done. So, cut butter. We're going to leave it on the platter, room temperature. Now, this is where you'll add the rest of your fruit, your juices. So the juice will come in. You're going to just leave a little bit of space for my my plum sorbet. And obviously, just pile your fruit and decorate it and fill up the platter. Please don't make more than you need. You don't want to have leftover fruit. There's nothing worse than fruit that's, well, you can turn it into something to eat with yogurt the next morning, yes, you could. But it's actually much nicer eaten on the day. It's just one of those desserts that you have to kind of do on the day that you are serving. And I just always say, be very organized with your Pesach meal. Be organized in that you have everything that you can do ahead of time done, and the rest of it is last minute. And that way, you're not running around like a chicken with a head off. But this is just pretty and beautiful and fresh. We are going to take this juice now, and I'm going to add the rest of it. I'm actually going to add mango juice just because. And I'm going to just bring it to a boil. And here's where you'll taste it to see if it needs more sugar, more honey, or syrup, or sweetener, or whatever you've added. Bring it to a boil. Carry away the fruit. But I love color. So red and green grapes, I'm sure, are coming into season in the United States. Just cut them because the inside of a fruit always looks much better. So just cut them in half so that your cut side is always facing up. And you then want a few raspberries, if you're using raspberries, just to give you a bit of color. And the strawberries, if you use them with the stems on, yes. If you don't, just cut right through them. Even if they're just coming into season and you're just using them just for a bit of color, it just makes it pretty. It's like having a grilled fruit salad in a way. Okay, there we go. We don't need quite so much. Literally just pile it onto a plate. A little bit of fresh mint for decoration. I actually like working with fruit, so I'm hiding these beautiful colors. Let's just move this out of the way. And a little bit of fresh mint just to decorate. So this is coming to a boil. You can see the handle hasn't melted under my foil. Just leave it for another few minutes and just boil it down. A little bit of fresh mint just for decoration. And the mint has just been in ice water if you want mint. It's gorgeous. And then we've got our clam sorbet, which is ready to be served together with this. I'm going to just grab a spoon and spoon that over the fruit. So there you go. The rest of it is just about the actual fruit. So I could have let this cool. If I'm not serving it straight away, I would have let it cool so that the juice isn't too hot. But if you are serving it straight away, you can serve it with the warm juice over it. And if you don't like hot juices, they're cool. They're just more concentrated, more flavorful, and really, really delicious. So I hope I've given you some inspiration to run off your kitchens and quickly create this and enjoy a beautiful, beautiful Pesach meal. It's fresh and delicious, and end it all with something fresh and delicious. So wherever you are in the world, Chag Sameach, happy Pesach, and I hope to see you soon. We are hoping we can all travel and see our families around the world. So this is one way of reaching them.
Wow, thank you so much. That looks amazing, and all the comments are coming in. It looks so healthy, it looks wonderful, mouth-watering. So definitely a nice alternative in terms of oil. I think because everyone always automatically thinks of a dessert, and they always think it has to be a cake or something very rich, or like has to have oily whip or anything like that. But I think this shows
it's not available, so you can't use oily whip. Sorry, there isn't any. It's full of palm oil, so it's one of the things that I try to avoid if possible. I'd rather have a full cream ice cream, thank you, which is obviously not Paro.
Exactly. So there are a lot of questions that are coming in now. I mean, it literally looks mouth-watering. So we've got, how long can you wait before you make the fruit hot? Can you make it in the morning for the evening?
So as long as it's fruit that's not going to discolor, it should be absolutely fine. And as long as the fruit is firm, the softer the fruit, the more it's going to discolor. So you don't really want to do it past much before lunchtime. Lunchtime will be good because it gives you a couple of hours ahead of time, and the fruit should, once it's grilled, it's grilled. So it's not really going to discolor, especially when you put that orange juice over it, which has the acidity in it to hold the color.
Okay, and then someone also wanted to know, are you able to use strawberries for the sorbet?
Yes, you could use any berries, strawberries, raspberries, blueberries. You could even buy frozen berries if they're available in your country and paste it and you don't mind to use them, whatever. Frozen berries are absolutely fine. I would literally kind of defrost them a little bit and process them and finished. And that would be all you need to do. You obviously will not boil them. That would really be the most, the easiest way to do it. So your pineapples, your grapes, any of those sorts of mangoes, we're coming to the end of mango season here, but going in wherever you may be, those fruits you don't want to cook. It's really the ones that are hard, like apples and pears, but they need color, which you could then add some berries to just to give it a bit more flavor as well if you wanted to. I mean, an apple sorbet is going to be quite light in color, obviously.
Okay, and there's a lot of interest in your blender. Someone wants to know what brand of hand blender you use.
Okay, so the hand blender is the Kenwood Tri-Blade, and it comes with the little food processor bowl. It is the most fantastic stick blender. It's very powerful, and that's one of the things. You can buy a stick blender, but it doesn't do what you need it to do. So the Kenwood one is really, really good. The food processor was also Kenwood. I do like the Kenwood products. Just out of interest, sorry to diverse to something or digress to another subject, but on the air fryer subject, those of you that are in South Africa, there is a special on the Philips macro at the moment. Have a look, there's an Easter special, the price is phenomenal, on the Philips XXL one. And if you're looking to buy one and you haven't got one and you want to start with it for Pesach, it's really a good place to start. So if you bought anything, I would say a stick blender, a little hand beater, because some of you can't afford a big Mixmaster, and I get that. But between the stick blender and that little processor and a hand Mixmaster, you actually don't need anything else. And a couple of good sharp knives, of course.
Okay, so like actually absolutely, as you say, so like I don't know why, but literally air fryers seem to be all the rage. What would you make in so before I get there, there's actually a question on your frozen berry sorbet. How much sugar would you add? Before we digress too much, how much sugar would you add?
So for a kilo of fruit, 1 tablespoon of sugar is more than enough, unless the fruit really needs it. These plums are delicious, they're sweet, they don't need sugar. I mean, what the sugar does is actually just bring out the flavor more than anything else. So in actual fact, I would have left it without the sugar completely, but it just tweaks it. And that's what you need, because sometimes an apple might be bland or a pear might be bland. Berries could be sour. I mean, sometimes they really are sour. So a mixed packet of berries or frozen berries, you need to taste it and adjust it accordingly. But if you don't like sugar, sweetener, a honey, a syrup will work just fine as well.
Okay, so yeah, so now just going quickly back to the air fryer, because I know people like actually literally might.
Yes, what can you make in the air fryer?
What would you?
Chicken would work beautifully in the air fryer out of interest. I do all my vegetables in there. Your potatoes, sweet potatoes, any vegetables that you can do work beautifully in the air fryer, and anything that requires reheating, you know, that just needs to be crisp is fantastic in the air fryer. So whether it's a piece of fish that you bought at the store and you want to just freshen it, rather do it in there than the microwave, because it really does crisp it beautifully and quickly. And it's we make chickens in the air fryer. We do whole chickens in the air fryer, and that big one works unbelievably. So in 1 hour, you have the best, simplest chicken ever. In fact, on my website, SharonGlass.co.za, we have the online courses that I've been doing, and they've been amazing through COVID, and I have to say I've loved doing them. Air fryer classes, which anybody can buy at any time and watch in your own time, and you've got the video, so it doesn't have to be, there's lots of different things, but if anybody's interested, then you can just buy those videos, and there are millions of recipes on them, and you really will enjoy them. So SharonGlassChef.co.za.
I was going to actually ask you that. And are you on Instagram? Can people follow you on Instagram?
I have Instagram, Sharon Glass Chef, Facebook, Sharon Glass Chef, and my email is sharon@sharonglass.co.za. It's very easy, actually. If you email any questions, we are happy to answer. Anything related to the books, because we do sell them online as well, and we do have some stock overseas, not a massive amount because there are not so many planes flying, but we do have stock, so we can ship internationally. And if you'd like to order my first book. We are actually busy printing it on ebook at the moment as we speak. It will be available from May, Simply Delicious. It went out of print many years ago, and those of you that loved it, I know it's not available and has not been and will not be printed in a hard format. We are doing an ebook for you. So just send me an email and I'll give you more info about it, and you can buy it wherever you may be, and obviously you'll just purchase it and have it online always.
Oh, amazing. Okay, well, I know from personal experience that I have used that book like 1,000 times. The Simply Delicious, the Absolutely Delicious, Absolutely Too Delicious. So, and you've done a fortune of books as well. Are you going to be doing any more books?
Now that's the $1 million question, isn't it? So maybe with no more children at home, I have plenty of time to do something like that.
Okay, and then someone also asked, can we get your recipe? I think it's with, so it'll be with the recipes. Someone says that
recipes have been sent to you. Yeah, everything's been sent. It's got all the substitutions, particularly northern suburbs, northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. And I particularly put it in that if you're watching the video, you'll follow it perfectly. If you didn't watch this video, it will be a little bit longer to follow. But if you did watch it, it's quick and simple and easy to do.
All right, and just also to remind everyone, sorry, let me just add myself here, just to remind everyone, every single webinar that we have had is on the South African Jewish Report YouTube page, so please do go there. You can rewatch these videos if there's a recipe that you want to particularly look at again, and rewatch, and as Sharon said, take it slowly and try and go through it, then you can totally do that. We will put that link up again for all the recipes. Someone says, please, we would love another book, Sharon. So there's definitely demand, and I know every single book is amazing, and I don't know how you think of all these recipes and how you come up with all of these, and even that fruit platter, you would say like fruit for dessert, and then
when you're doing food, you know, and then it's quite easy. I love giving people ideas, and I love fresh things and making people see how easy it is to do simple food, and I think that's what's happened over COVID. We've realized that simple is actually the way to go. We don't need fancy food. We like the simpler the better. And really it's about fresh flavors and what we have and what we can use. I don't want you running around to a million shops or even trying to find them online, because people are nervous to go out, and just use what's available. It really is all about that. But I think the best part about online is that you can print a recipe, follow a video, and refer to it and pause it whenever you want to.
Amazing. All right. So we have had such an amazing evening. I think the food that you have shown us, you have shown us also that dessert can be healthy and delicious and colorful and attractive. And I think we have had the most spectacular evening of so many options. People think of Pesach as this really bland, horrible, negative festival where there's nothing to eat. And I think tonight we have seen that everything is available. You don't just have to use matzah. You can use matzah meal in different ways, but you also can make herring in little glasses. You can make fruit into something completely different. You can have Chrain, you can have knaidlach. People have learned how to make Charoset. I think we have had such a spectacular amount of chefs and just culinary geniuses this evening, and I just want to thank all of you so much. I wanted to know, we'll just quickly go, is there anything else that you'd like to say? Nida, we'll start with you just to say thank you, and also for people who want to, please comment in the comment section. Again, we will make all of these recipes available for all of you, but I know I've certainly learned a lot of tricks, and my mind has been opened up to things that I potentially wouldn't have made before, so hopefully that has been the case for all of you this evening. So Nida, just what are your closing comments?
Well, I so much enjoyed being in this circle. I felt like I'm visiting South Africa at the moment. So thank you very much for all these beautiful, beautiful dishes, and for all these people who presented amazing cooking. I really enjoyed every second of it. Thank you very much for allowing me to be part of it.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for always joining in. So Dad, let's also ask you to unmute, and Karen also, just so that you can speak, and just see that we can get a comment from you. So Ronnie, what did you say? Well, how was that for you? Did you learn a lot?
I learned a lot how to cook. I thought I knew something, but I don't know nothing compared to what you make those dishes. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and I think he's definitely.
I like my Lithuanian dish very much.
Yeah, I can see it's going to be made in Houghton. I can tell. Coming
to
to
a variation of it as well. Very nice. Nida, you're unbelievable.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so good to see you, Ronnie.
Yeah, good to see you. And I go through your book. I've been through your book a few times.
Thank you very much.
The digital gathering. And Karen, what are your comments just for before Pesach and before we get into it?
Well, first of all, thank you. And it's been an honor to cook with all these wonderful chefs. And Pesach, my comment about Pesach is it seems overwhelming, but once you're into it, it's not as bad as it seems. So we'll all get through it, and we do it every year, and please God, it should just go well.
Absolutely. And Sharon, our dessert, you are the cherry on the top. Your closing comments.
Everybody just stay safe and keep Pesach, and it's only 8 days. Remember that. Why we get hungry, I'm not quite sure, but it's only 8 days. So have an easy Pesach and Chag Sameach, everyone. Thanks for including me, Dina. I really love being part of this.
No, thank you. I really think we've just had the most outstanding show. And I just want to thank Danny Kadar, who's always there in the background making things work. So thank you for all your help. Guys, please remember also we'll put up the screen, but the Sunday webinar for Pesach is also going to blow your mind. People from all over the world. We've now tasted everything from all over the world. We're going to hear from all over the world, get insight, get inspired, and then we've got you fully covered and ready for Pesach. So everyone, thank you so much for participating. Thank you so much for watching. And all of you have a good night. Have a Chag Kasher v'Sameach. And we will see you all soon for our next webinar on Sunday. And again, please, guys, if you have comments, please post them in the section, in the chat section, and we will also be posting all of the recipes for you. So have a very good night, and good night to everyone. Thanks so much.
Good night, everyone.
Bye. Night.
Good night to you all.